American Comics Double Thor Comparison. Odin is envious. 076 Thor. So I'm the one with a problem? Add Kamartage. Thor looked at Luoji with a suspicious expression on his face, and said angrily, "What kind of eyes do you have? It feels like I went out and picked up a woman." Luoji folded her arms and looked up and down at the sleeping beauty like Wanda, then pouted. "Is not it? It seems that the great god of thunder, flame and wisdom can't bear the loneliness in his heart." Speaking, Luoji showed a heartbroken expression, and sobbed while wiping away tears that didn't exist. "Hey, who told me that I was just a sinner who was expelled by my father? I thought my brother came to Earth for my sister, but it turned out to be a human witch." "Let's go." "Just go. My sister will work hard to survive in Kamartage. Even if someone bullies you, I won't bother you." 647. The Magician King on the side is stunned. Why is this little princess of Asgard so tea-like? She looked quite honest a few days ago. Outside the light curtain, everyone had an idea at this moment. That is, the Magician King really looked too early. From now on, Kamartage will not jump around like crazy. It is considered Lord Luoji's kindness. At this moment, King Magician, who was still sighing inwardly, nodded his head when he saw the elder brother, Sorcerer Supreme, and then said expressionlessly, "Oh well." Then the master opened a portal and walked in directly, leaving behind a second to break the power. Luoji, who was baring her teeth and claws, bumped her head against the space barrier and sat on the ground dizzy. Wang raised his head silently, as if he didn't see anything. He ran away in a hurry. Add Asgard. In the Hanging Garden of Odin Palace, a portal opens. After Thor came out, he quickly found Odin watching the sunset. "Father, I'm back," he said. Odin is a little surprised. "Why are you coming back so soon? Isn't your agreement with Ancient One 5 years?" Thor has already come back and talked to him about the previous matter. There is a new accident this time. Thor moves away from behind, revealing Wanda floating in midair, still in a coma. When Odin faced his son, he never opened up his perception of divine power. At the moment, he was a little surprised when he saw Wanda, a human witch. "Is this the wife you chose for yourself? Thor, you should go to your mother about this. The forest of witches will be unhappy." The wives of previous god kings were all selected from there. This is not a so-called cooperation, but a tradition. Hearing this, Thor looks helpless. Why does his father look so lustful just like his sister? "Father, I didn't mean that. It's just that this witch is a bit special, so I brought it back," Thor explained solemnly. Hearing this, Odin stood up. The authority he holds is about war and death, and he doesn't have the eyes to see through everything. But he knows that Thor never jokes, so this witch is definitely very special. "Wait a minute, I'll call your mother over." As Odin's voice fell, a crow standing among the flowers flew away. Soon, a green vortex appeared in the garden, and the Queen of God, Frigga, came out of it. She looked at her eldest son and joked with joy, "Isn't this Kamartage's Sorcerer Supreme? How can I be a guest in Asgard when I have time?" It can be seen that she is very satisfied with Thor's work on Midgard. That is the true glory of Asgard. It will be rewritten in the history of Asgard. Even, she has no doubt that there will be a biography called Thor the King of Gods on the top position of the library. Thor has a helpless smile on his face, but he is actually very happy in his heart. "It's not something I do with joy, but I like to see my mother happy." However, compared to Luoji, he is not very good at expressing this. Then, he explained, "Come back this time because there is a very important thing." "Mother, this human girl is a teacher." Frigga's eyes widened suddenly, and she said in shock, "How long have you been in Midgard, and you found a woman so quickly?" Thor instantly petrified. 3 people have the same reaction, so that he can't help but wonder if it's really him who has the problem. At this moment, Frigga's expression changed. She looked at Wanda in a coma and said in surprise, "This is impossible. That's just a legend." As a witch, she obviously found something. Odin instantly understood that things were not as simple as he thought. "Is this human witch special?" Frigga said with a shocked face. "Not only is it special, it's even more unbelievable than when Luoji suddenly defeated Thor." This is Scarlet Witch. Legend is the most powerful existence among all witches, and there is no one. Odin frowned, puzzled. Even so, there's nothing to be shocked about. It's just a witch after all. Frigga glances at her husband. "What does it mean to be just a witch? See if the witch can let you go back to the bedroom tonight." At this point Thor opens his mouth and says, "Father, the power of the Scarlet Witch is alter reality." Odin suddenly showed surprise. This is indeed beyond his expectation. If this power is real, it is completely one of the top powers in the current universe. But before he opened his mouth, he heard his son say again, "The god of black magic, Scythorn, may be the source of all this." I just sealed his calibration in Scarlet Witch's mind. For a moment, Odin and Frigga's expressions changed at the same time! 4.8. Soon, Thor told the two of them the truth. The Queen of God was a little scared when she heard it, but Odin's eyes were no longer just admiration and satisfaction, but admiration. The future of Asgard, because of Thor, will become brighter. What you can't do yourself will be realized on the other side. Definitely, he kept these words in his heart and didn't say them. The most important thing now is Scarlet Witch. Soon, Frigg made a decision. She and Thor will take this human girl back to the Forest of Witches. There, maybe there is a solution to the black magic imprint. 077 The meeting of the 12 witches. Add Forest of Witches. That is on the greenest leaf on the world tree. As a dark green vortex appeared, Thor and Frigg walked out of it, in a forest full of tranquility. There is no towering giant tree as imagined, just a pine needle forest of ordinary file size. But interestingly, the ground here is manicured grass. A rabbit and a grey wolf are standing upright. One is holding a kettle, and the other is holding a small shovel and seems to be planting something, which looks very harmonious. Seeing a stranger appear, the two little guys suddenly screamed and jumped out of their eyes like in the animation, then ran away and disappeared into the depths. Thor was a little surprised. It was also his first time here. As for the reason, it is also very simple. There are no men here. This time, if it is not necessary to explain Wanda's problem in detail, otherwise there is no chance to come here. At this moment, Frigga laughed and said, "This is an animal transformed by witches for service. There is no killing 13 in this world." Thor nodded, followed his mother step by step towards the depths of the jungle, until reaching the top of the mountain, a huge white cloud fell from the sky, spreading a bifrost. At this time, you can clearly see a red and white castle deep in the clouds. Frigga walked up with Thor, walking and saying, "This is the seat of the Witch Council. There are usually 12 witches on duty. I don't know which 4 they are now. As for the other witches, they are scattered in every corner of the forest. They like to gather in lively villages, and those who don't like to be alone, but they won't be separated too far. The only pity is that you won't see so many beautiful girls this time." Thor smiled helplessly, and didn't know why his mother always liked to talk about such things after seeing Wanda. Soon, the two came to the castle. The gate opened automatically, and a group of puppet guards escorted the two of them into the castle with extremely serious expressions. When the door of the hall opened, a woman in a pure white dress came out. "Frigga, long time no see." After the woman hugged the queen, she looked at Thor with satisfied eyes. "This must be Asgard's next god king, Thor Odinson, right? The trial of the 3 gods created history. Those little witches are thinking about when they can meet you and listen to your story." At this moment, Frigga smiled and said, "Thor, this is the witch Glinda, who is the prototype of the southern witch in Midgard's fairy tales. She once killed a lot of evil in the 9 realms, and she almost married your father back then." Glinda gave her friend an angry look. "I still like someone alone, and no one will fight you to leave the job." As she spoke, she took the two of them to the hall and sat down. 3 teacups and a teapot bounced over to serve tea. At this point she continued, "Come on, Asgard didn't send a letter to choose a new queen. What's the matter with you this time?" Hearing this, Frigga's face became serious and she asked, "Who are the other 3 on duty now?" "Ada, Meowly, Dorothy. Probably either slept on the upper floor of Cloud Castle, or slipped out to play. You also know that this council of witches is just a decoration, and it has been idle for many years." Frigga shrugged and said, "That's it now." As she spoke, she gently tossed a bead, which suddenly enlarged continuously, revealing the sleeping woman inside. "This is..." Glinda's eyes revealed a faint purple light, and his face suddenly changed after a few seconds. "How can it be? Shouldn't that be just a legend?" Frigga smiled calmly. "I just like the way you have never seen the world." Glinda glares at her friend, then hurries to the center of the hall. As she uttered the awkward spell, a huge amounts of magic circle formed under her feet, and 11 complex rings were formed on the edge. A few seconds later, rays of light of different colors emerged, and 11 women of different ages appeared in the circle. "Woo, I'm sound asleep. Why did you call me here?" A woman with an enchanting figure and charming eyebrows stretched her waist and said. The woman gave Thor a wink as she spoke. Thor was expressionless, and the latter puffed up his cheeks suddenly. At this time, a dignified and elderly voice sounded, "Don't be in heat here, Dorothy. The Council of 12 Witches hasn't been activated for thousands of years. Glinda must have called us for something urgent." Glinda nodded, then said, Prince Thor brought a witch." "What's so strange about this?" "It's worth all of us coming here. There's still potion boiling in my cauldron." A girl who looked only 6 or 7 years old snorted dissatisfiedly. 477. Not just her, there are several dissatisfied witches. At this time, Glinda looked over blankly, and said lightly, "Scarlet Witch." As a result, everyone's expressions changed drastically. Glinda smiled lightly. She just likes to see these people who have never seen the world. 10 minutes later, when Thor told the truth about what happened to Wanda before, all the witches had different expressions. Mephisto Scythorn has a relationship with Scarlet Witch and was defeated. At this moment, some people are surprised, some people are unbelieving, and some people feel alarmist. And when they entered Wanda's mind and looked at the black magic mark that was sealed by time, all expressions turned into shock. Then all the witches praised Thor as the strongest god king in Asgard. Thor's face is calm, but at this moment, he sneered in his heart. In Wanda's mind just now, Someone is not honest. 078 The shocking spike. Outside the light curtain. Thor's heartfelt surprise surprised many people, especially Agatha. Forest of Witches. It's not that the witches here were born here, but that the witches with the best abilities in the 9 realms will be eligible to come here. Like Queen Frigg. She is the Warner Protoss, but her most powerful is the power of the witch. Agatha dreamed of coming here when she was young. After all, there are countless witchcraft and magic and knowledge brought by countless ancestors here. But since becoming the Dark Witch, this dream has been shattered. The existence of evil forces is allowed there. But now it seems that there is no pure place in the world. A good witch may secretly be more evil than anyone else. I just don't know which woman hit me for what. Inside Yundin Castle. The thousands of years of silence here has been broken. Besides the 12 witches, there are also a large number of activated dolls constantly carrying various books. They are now looking for how to completely erase the mark of the god of black magic. Frigga was among them, and Thor summoned Bifrost back to Aster. At least on the surface it looks like this. The Forest of Witches is indeed the oldest place for witches in the 9 realms, and the method was found that night. That is to use the modifying power of origin magic power to forcibly erase the black mark. In view of the fact that Wanda originally couldn't manipulate the power to do this, there will be 4 witches who enter the mind and indirectly accomplish this by manipulating Wanda. Midnight. The castle became darker, and Wanda, who was in a coma, lay flat in a magic circle that had been drawn, surrounded by a large number of candles of different heights. At this time, 4 witches in hoods stepped forward. They are Glinda the Wind, Martina the Eldest Soul Witch, Victoria the Flame Witch, and Janice the Winter Witch. As the obscure mantra was repeated, the candle burned automatically and turned dark green. Accompanied by the psychic witch's murmur, the 4 of them suddenly lowered their heads. Deadpool, FK, it looks like a horror movie. Quill. These girls don't look like good people at all. Gamera, stop acting ignorant. They have entered Wanda's mind. Quill, sounds even less like a nice guy. Pure white world. This is Wanda's mind space. At the moment, in addition to the black magic imprint sealed by the Thunder Chain and the Rooney Rune, Wanda originally also floated in midair with her eyes closed. Let's start. After Martina finished speaking, the 4 stood around Wanda. In the next second, the eyes of the Witch of Winter turned silvery white, and Wanda's body began to be covered with a layer of frost. Then the Flame Witch stepped forward, and the flame elves flew out of her hair, and landed on top of Wanda's head. Alternating cold and heat, Wanda's comatose mind showed a painful expression. This is a sign of recovery. At this time, Glinda gently took a breath, which turned into a gentle breeze, and Wanda's painful expression suddenly became peaceful. At this time, the spiritual witch opened her arms, and bursts of distorted ripples appeared immediately. With your spirit, call your power. As layers upon layers of voices surged again and again, Wanda suddenly opened her scarlet but lifeless eyes. The next second, the clothes on her body instantly changed into the legendary Scarlet Witch outfit. Like blood stains in the water, origin magic power began to spread little by little. Seeing this scene, the faces of the 4 people showed joy at the same time. The first step was successful. At the same time, the gloomy interior of the castle, the group of witches waited cautiously, but at the same time, there was a look of worry in their eyes. At this moment, a striking golden light suddenly lit up in the hall. Except for Frigga, everyone's expression changed at the same time, thinking that there was an intruder. But in the next second, I saw Thor walking out of the portal. This looks like Kamataj's teleportation. When did Prince Thor go there to be a magician? It was the enchanting witch who spoke, and the other witches are secretly on guard. After all, Asgard and Midgard's past, they still know something, and the 2 are at odds. At this time, Frigga shook her head and corrected. Solina, you are correct in the previous sentence, but the latter is somewhat incorrect. What's wrong? Solina asked puzzledly. It couldn't be stolen. Frigga smiled and said, because he is not going to be a magician. 1. Yes, Sorcerer Supreme. She ends up speaking to Thor. As soon as this statement came out, all the witches were shocked, no less than seeing the legendary Scarlet Witch for the first time. Thor looked calm, and did not satisfy the curiosity of these people, but said very abruptly, the seal has been triggered. I'm going to start, Mother. Frigga nods. The other witches were startled, and someone rebuked. What are you up to? Thor glanced at the witch lightly, and said in a cold voice, purify the forest of witches for you. As the voice fell, dense thunder erupted from him and rolled along the ground to spread around. Barriers lit up in front of each witch, but were smashed in an instant. So strong. This scene changed everyone's heart greatly, but immediately found that the thing didn't attack him. At this time, 4 screams appeared, 4 witches who are solving the black magic mark. Cheat sheet pops up from Wanda's spiritual world. Solina just wanted to explain to the 4 that Thor was going to do something, when a witch of spring vomited blood and shouted. The 3 of them betrayed the forest of witches, trying to devour the power of the Chaos Witches. As soon as this remark came out, the faces of the witches who were angry about Thor's unknown all changed suddenly. But before they could make a move, I saw Thor move. He first condensed a thunder spear in his hand, and he raised his hand and nailed the soul witch who turned into a crow to the wall. The latter was completely unable to resist, and howled endlessly. Then Thor's eyes were fixed, and the sound of mirror shattering sounded around the Witch of Winter, and the space tumbling terribly. It's like an invisible Rubik's Cube shrouding the opponent's body, and then quickly disrupted. Just for a moment, the Winter Witch's scattered body was completely unable to move and freeze, and she could only look at Thor in horror. The last is the Flame Witch. The two companions were caught in an instant, so she didn't have the slightest idea of running away. Instead, a raging flame was burning on her body, and she slammed into Thor crazily. Careful! The smallest witch couldn't help shouting out, but the next moment, she saw that Thor just stretched out his arm, and he just fell into the flames. In an instant, the Flame Witch returned to her original body. Her neck was tightly strangled by Thor, her feet struggled in midair, her face was flushed, and she couldn't speak a word. No good. And Thor just looked at the woman lightly and said, "Are you also worthy of being called controlling flames?" In an instant, red fire rolled out of his palm, enveloping the woman in an instant. The witch, who was immune to flames during awakening, howled in pain at this moment. In the face of a higher level of power, the flame immunity fails. Until a few seconds later, Thor casually threw the half-dead witch on the ground, then looked at his mother calmly and said, "Look, I said it's very simple." Frigga shrugged, and the hall had become deathly silent. Shop. Everyone looks at Thor in disbelief. The three most powerful witches in the Forest of Witches were killed almost instantly, without even taking a breath. The whole process is light and calm, as simple as drinking water. They ask themselves that they are definitely not weak within the 9 realms, so there is only one reason. Is this the God King who is about to take over in Asgard? This is no longer ordinary and powerful. It's even more terrifying than Odin's visit to the Witches' Forest. 079 The Goddess of Fate reappears. Wanda is shy. Outside the light curtain. Maybe it's because I'm used to the big scenes before. Thor raised his hand and instantly killed 3 witches. This moment may seem a bit simple to some viewers, but in the eyes of some powerhouses, this is even more shocking. Chatterum. Quill. These 12 witches seem a little too weak. It feels like these guys are down before Thor can make a move. Gamera, I hope you can say that when you meet a witch someday. Agatha, it's not that the witches are weak, but this Thor is too strong. Escaping is what witches do best, but these 3 haven't even had a chance. To be honest, I thought at least one of them would get away. Magician Wang, I don't know if you know how difficult the magic of mirror space is. According to normal circumstances, when a spell is successfully cast, the caster can control the space power there. But that is not only limited, but only in the mirror space. But Thor totally breaks that. Just seal the Witch of Winter. The power to turn a small space into a Rubik's Cube is actually using the mirror space. But this is in the real dimension. I still can't believe how he managed to do this. Baron Mordo, someone can do it, but it can only be done after stealing powerful dimensional energy. And, it won't be so fine-tuned. I suddenly felt that this Thor might be more powerful as a pure magician than as a god. That way he won't be distracted by other powers. Tony. But is there another possibility? So these kinds of forces are simply not enough to distract him? You must know that his simple lightning spear has the effect of sealing. And Thor in our timeline may not be able to control the form of thunder. Sif, perhaps for this Thor, there is no limit at all. As soon as this remark came out, many people fell silent for a moment. I don't know the future, but this statement cannot be refuted at least now. 480. Genting Castle. 3 witches who betrayed because of origin magic power were hanged upside down under the cloud top at the moment. This is a huge matter. Something that has never happened in the Forest of Witches for tens of thousands of years, and it will take at least several rounds of meetings before the trial can make a decision. But in the future, these 3 people will be taken directly to Asgard's God's prison, imprisoned for life, and served with thunder and caning. This moment, Asgard's divine power is higher than the law of the Witches' Forest. In the hall, the remaining 9 witches all looked very unnatural. However, the scene of Thor killing 3 people in a flash before is still vivid in my memory, and I am afraid that I will not be able to forget it in this life. More importantly, this Prince of Asgard is too young. Only 1,500 years old. God knows how powerful and terrifying the other party will be when they are 3,000 years old. Rules are dead, people are alive. Moreover, those 3 sluts dared to look at the power of origin magic power. They deserved what they did. The youngest of the witches present was more than 1,000 years old. After simply weighing the pros and cons, the way they looked at Thor changed again. They clearly remember that this future God King has not yet selected a God Queen. In the lobby, Thor can clearly perceive the emotional changes of the witches, but he doesn't understand why the eyes of these people looking at him suddenly changed. But Frigga is a genius. She sat directly next to her son and glanced at the group of goblins with unfriendly eyes. There are a few of them who are as old as me, but they still think about old cows eating young grass. How shameless they are. Thor doesn't care what these people think at all. He is short on time and needs to return to Midgard. He directly asked the witches to give a solution to the black magic mark. If not, he plans to go to the land of nothingness. There is no way for the 9 realms, not necessarily for the universe. That collector has lived for an unknown number of years, so there is definitely a solution. Hearing Thor's words, the witches looked at each other. If you can find a good way, you won't be caught by the spiritual witch and almost make a big mistake. They have no doubt at all, if the 3 of them are really successful, the Forest of Witches will probably have to change its name. Although Thor is a little disappointed, he also knows that this is reasonable. But just when he got up and wanted to open the portal and return to Asgard, he suddenly stopped and looked into the void. The witches at the scene were suddenly tense, not knowing what the prince was doing. But in the next second, a shocking scene appeared. I saw Wanda, who was in a coma, suddenly opened her eyes and showed a weird smile. In an instant, all the witches felt their scalps go numb, thinking that Scythorn had once again controlled Wanda through the black magic mark. But immediately they saw that Thor didn't make any changes. Obviously, things are not what they thought, but they just don't know what happened. Can you come out? At this moment Thor said with a look of surprise. Wanda smiles slightly. It's not us, it's just me. Thor retorted lightly. Is there any difference? If my sister hears what you said, I'm sure I'll blow my hair out again. Wanda sat down in a comfortable position, and continued casually, although we control similar powers, things like personality are still very different. Thor didn't care about this kind of thing. Seeing that the witches were puzzled, he explained, this is one of the 3 goddesses of fate, Verdant. The witches of the 12 councils all stood up in a panic when they heard this, with expressions of awe. Frigga has a more natural expression, but she also knows that witches believe in fate the most, and it is inevitable that they will do so when facing the goddess of fate that exists in the world tree. While the witches were shocked at the moment, they were also guessing why the goddess in charge of now suddenly appeared. Finally, everyone looks at Thor at the same time. There is no doubt that the goddess appeared to see each other, and they don't have such a big face. At this time Thor said lightly, I don't know why the goddess appeared this time. Verdant nodded her forehead. Definitely because of this child. BTCP, Scarlet Witch, origin magic power. This is not a trivial matter. If one is not careful, the 9 realms will suffer catastrophe. Thor thoughtfully. So, you guys have a solution to the mark? Verdant nodded. Definitely. I have already told this child a specific method. You just need to go to her heart to know. But this matter still needs your strength. I hope you don't refuse. Thor felt that there was something in this remark, but after thinking about it, he still didn't refuse. Could it be hurt? But he doesn't care about this. Remove the black magic mark. He will originally benefit from this matter. The mere injury is nothing but a trivial matter. Seeing Thor agreeing happily, Verdant showed a half smile and said, since that's the case, I don't have anything else to ask. So, Thor from Asgard, looking forward to seeing you next time. Listening to this, Thor's expression didn't change, but Frigga heard a meaningful meaning in it. It's Thor ... not Thor Odinson. Does this name no longer need any suffixes? Perhaps, this goddess of fate may have foreseen something. The matter marked by black magic should be done sooner rather than later. After Verdant left, Thor brought the unconscious Wanda to the meditation room of the castle. The priesthood from wisdom makes it easy for him to enter the other party's spiritual world. It is still a pure white space. Thor was surprised to find that Wanda had woken up. At the moment, wearing a red dress, was a little scared, looking at himself with dodgy eyes. If Frigga was here, she would give her son a chestnut. Because the woman's eyes dodge may also be due to shyness. Are you awake? Thor felt a little weird after speaking, but he didn't care too much, and said directly, the goddess of fate said that she has already told you how to remove the black magic mark, and what I need to do. Wanda glanced at the stone tablet in the distance with some fear, and then remembered what the goddess said at that time. A few minutes ago, Verdant came to the spiritual space through the world tree and awakened Wanda. After explaining the method, I said very honestly, the consequence of doing that is actually changing the owner of this spiritual space. Can you accept it? Definitely. Wanda has no hesitation. At the beginning, when she was crushed under the ruins in despair, when she saw Thor's hand stretched out to her, she believed everything. She found her God. Not to mention this piece of spiritual space. Even this life doesn't matter. Seeing this, Verdant smiled and said, that's good. And in the future, you will therefore become the most critical step for him to move forward. This is your luck, and it is also his luck. Wanda looked at Thor and lowered her head shyly. The goddess method is very simple, as long as you use the power of flames to slowly pass through me to burn the black magic mark. It's just that this process is very slow, and it can't be solved in one go. Thor frowned. I don't think it's troublesome, but it sounds a bit too simple. But you will know if you try it. The next second, he stretched out his hand again, just like at that time. Wanda froze for a moment, then endured the throbbing and joy in her heart, and put it up again. Thor clenched his palms tightly, and red flames began to burst out. At this time, thin lines like black smoke appeared from Wanda's body, linking to the sealed stone tablet not far away. As time passed, he easily perceived that some of the black smoke had indeed been burned away. However, as the other party said, this process is very slow and needs to be done continuously. Thor doesn't find it troublesome. It's just ... He glanced at the girl indiscriminately. Although the flame power burned the black smoke, nothing else seemed to be left behind. At this moment he finally understood. Wanda was not afraid before, but shy. At the same time, everyone outside the light curtain was stunned from a few minutes ago. What is the solution? Why can't I see it? 080 Discover Johnny Blazer. After an hour, the darkened light curtain was turned on again, and everyone saw that the picture had left the pure white spiritual world and turned into a real dimension. I don't know why there was an abnormality, so everyone didn't see how Thor handled the black magic mark after entering the spiritual world. Many people suddenly felt a little pity. At the same time, I guessed in my heart that some ultimate secret might be blocked. And Scythorn, the god of black magic, heaved a sigh of relief. His dark mark is not limited to Wanda, and the screen is blocked, but there is no need to worry about other people following suit to remove the mark. Genting Castle Hall. Thor walked down the stairs with Wanda blushing. The witches present here are all human beings. After seeing Wanda's expression and eyes, each of them has a change in their hearts. And Frigga showed her sighing eyes that her son had finally grown up, and at the same time looked at the girl with a hint of scrutiny. Thor didn't know what his mother was thinking, and didn't bother to think about it. He just walked down and looked at the witches and said, I will solve the black magic mark after Wanda, there is no problem. But her knowledge about witches and magic, I want to find a teacher. Whoever wants to take on the role needs to live in Asgard for a while. 1. Definitely, this is not free, I will pay a certain price. With the matter of the psychic witch before, everyone understands Thor's defense. Who knows whether there will be another person who covets origin magic power. But that's not the point. The point is that this matter is an opportunity, because I promise not only to be the teacher of Scarlet Witch. And this girl looks at Thor in a strange way. It is very likely that she is the woman, or one of the most fierce god kings in Asgard in the future. Then do you still need to think about it? Anyone who agrees a second later is a fool. Thus, after Thor finished speaking, he was shocked to see all the witches leaning towards him, chirping and saying that he is the most suitable teacher for Wanda. It even got worse and worse, and she did not hesitate to expose the old shortcomings of other people, saying that except for herself, other witches are duplicity little bitches. Wanda is a little flattered, but she has long been used to seeing people's hearts, and knowing that these people are probably for Thor, she feels even more grateful for a while. In the end, Glinda caught up with her former friend Frigg and got the position of teacher. However, Thor knows that this should be the most assured candidate for his mother. Shortly after, when Glinda took the cauldron and the magic bag containing the books, Thor opened the portal and brought them back to Asgard. After hearing what happened, Odin just smiled and didn't say much, but Frigga knows that the Forest of Witches may face the accountability of the God King in the near future. This is related to the majesty of Asgard, and it cannot be easily dealt with. After dinner, Thor bids farewell to Wanda and returns to Kamartaj. Removing the black magic mark is not a one-time thing. After that he will return to Asgard every night to help the other party. Outside the light curtain, Gamera gave a nod look. What exorcism method needs to be done every night? Always feels a little weird. Kamartaj. Thor went straight to the library after returning. He always felt that there was something wrong with Goddess of Fate's method. In his opinion, from a certain point of view, what his flame power does seems to be no different from Scythorn. A few hours later, Thor left the library with a sigh. He found the truth, but at the same time respected Wanda's choice. At least, he will not manipulate the other party's mind. The next day, after testing Liu Oji's learning achievements in the past few days, Thor showed such a gaze, and then skillfully used the frog-changing technique. Just as he was thinking about whether to give his sister some more love from brother, the phone rang. Not to mention, apart from the distance limit, he still likes this midget communication tool. 10 seconds later, New York, New Trident headquarters. Nick Fury stares as golden sparks light up in the air, then form a circle. The next second, the god came out from inside. There are only 3 people in the room. Thor took a look and found that the man who likes to have his buttocks naked is not there. Besides the black-headed Cyclops, the other 2 are Phil Coulson and Natasha Romanoff, whom he is familiar with. The next second, he saw the one-eyed dragon stepping forward, and said neither humble nor overbearing, "Meet you for the first time. This is S.H.I.E.L.D. Director Nick Fury." Hello. Thor doesn't have the idea of being arrogant and looking down on the untouchables, but Asgard doesn't have the habit of shaking hands either. He nodded, and calmly responded neither coldly nor enthusiastically. Asgard, Thor Odinson. Hello, midget people. Outside the light curtain, Nick Fury was speechless, asking for flowers. He still remembers that when Thor saw him for the first time, he almost didn't take a picture of his puffy lungs. He had thought that was the way Asgards liked to greet them. Hearing this response, Nick Fury breathed a sigh of relief. This god seems to be quite easy to talk to. Director. At this moment, Natasha Romanoff gave a soft reminder. Nick Fury said immediately, "Your Excellency Thor, the person you asked us to find has been found. We are in Las Vegas now. Do you need us to take you there?" At the beginning, it wasn't that he didn't want to take this opportunity to directly arrest this person, so as to establish a good relationship with Thor. but Natasha Romanoff reminded him not to make his own decisions. Once done wrong, SHIELD can withstand civil strife in Hydra, but not a small wrath of this god. 0. Thor nodded, then suddenly asked, when you monitored him, did you notice anything unusual? Phil Coulson shakes his head. No, this person usually makes a living by performing motorcycle stunts. He used to be very famous, but I don't know why he declined later. When we found him, his life, well, it was quite simple. You want to say that you are very poor, right? Thor thought about what Ancient One said to himself before he left, then turned his head and said, which one of you has time? Take me there. Don't be too obvious then. You mean secretly observing, right? I'm good at this. The old man immediately said that this is what he does in SHIELD. Natasha Romanoff was speechless after hearing this. Isn't your idol Captain Steve? Why does he look rebellious? Not to be outdone, she recommended herself. Phil Coulson agent is used to bringing some subordinates with him when he is out on the field. I'm afraid he still can't cope with this situation. I have a lot of experience, let me go. Besides, Nick Fury feels depressed. Why haven't you two been so active in normal times? Now you are rushing to complete the task. I am still here as the bureau chief. Don't you betray anyone. Thor doesn't care about it. Then you two go together. Then he turned his head and calmly looked at the one-eyed dragon and said, convenient. Have you already made up your mind? Nick Fury looked very natural, and said with certainty, definitely convenient. Jang 081 Ghost Rider. Chatroom. Hawkeye, it's kind of weird. How can a motorcycle acrobat rider sound so ordinary? How can such a person have anything to do with Thor? Tony, don't you SHIELD have any information on this person? Logically speaking, he should be very special. Nick Fury, no, SHIELD records all humans with special powers. If there is, I will definitely remember it. Tony, that's even more proof that this guy is definitely not ordinary. Mr. Director, I am increasingly doubting your business ability. Outside the light curtain, the corner of Nick Fury's mouth twitched. He is now increasingly suspicious of the Skrull's business ability. Las Vegas. This is the craziest city full of primitive desires in the world. At the same time, here also has the darkest corner. Outside of the bustling main city center, there is the opposite, which looks like a dilapidated building complex left over from the 833 world of the previous world, full of all kinds of fallen people. And in such a dark corner, in a very low-key large SUV, Phil Coulson acts as the driver, and Natasha Romanoff sits in the co-pilot as a bodyguard, while Thor sits in the back, closing his eyes and meditating. The time has come to the middle of the night. It's not okay to be middle-aged. Phil Coulson felt a little urgent to urinate, so he wanted to go out to solve his personal problems. But at this moment, Thor suddenly opened his eyes and turned his head to look out the window. Natasha Romanoff's eyes sharpened suddenly, and Phil Coulson tightens his legs. Then the two looked out the windows, and immediately discovered Ami's traditional performing arts. Two BLCK men are robbing a whore. Or, the two of them are thinking about going whoring for nothing. But no matter what, things don't seem to be settled. One of the BLCK men slapped the woman to the ground without any hesitation, and started yelling loudly, which sounded like rap. In the car, Natasha Romanoff's face darkens. But she does nothing without Thor's order. Not only her, Phil Coulson also defaulted to Thor's command. At this time, the dilapidated street lights on the street flickered, and there was a low roar of a motorcycle engine in the distance. The two violent BLCK men looked up and saw a cool Harley parked in front of them, and the person sitting on it is just a white male who looks a little thin. In the car, Natasha Romanoff and Phil Coulson immediately recognized that this is the target person, Johnny Blazer. I just don't know that the other party wants to perform a heroic trick to save the beauty at night. It seems somewhat irrational. The black brother whose good deed was interrupted, his eyes lit up at this moment. Jesus, what luck tonight. Yo, brother. The car is not bad. One of the BLCK men put his hand on the handlebar skillfully, and then praised. Another BLCK man patted Johnny on the shoulder, put his shoulders on his back and said, borrow a buddy for a ride. You can play with this woman first, it's a good deal. Johnny lowered the sunglasses slightly, revealing a pair of hungry eyes and smiled. One may not be enough, how about the two of you? Quill, damn. Did I find the wrong guy? This Johnny looks as perverted as the Electrocute adventure. Deadpool, it's really exciting to play. Tony, dude, why do you sound so excited? Deadpool, isn't it exciting? Main Street, 4 people, watch it for free. I'm not willing to order midnight premium channels when I'm staying in a hotel. Unfortunately, some popcorn is missing. Gamer, pervert. How do you see that the desire in Johnny's eyes is sex? All I see is hunger. Deadpool, don't you mean something? Quill, don't you mean something? Natasha Romanoff, not at all. This man looks like he's watching Prey. Deadpool, Quill, isn't that still a meaning? Chat room. Everyone silently closed their mouths, fearing that something unclean would pollute themselves along the chat room at this moment. Under the streetlight. Fuck. Dead pervert. The Black brothers turned their faces instantly, and the two grabbed Johnny's jacket in tacit understanding at the same time, wanting to throw each other out of the car. However, under the force, the people in the car did not move at all. The two were shocked at the same time, but they were not afraid. In this kind of ghost place at night, they are at least prepared. For example, a pistol with an unknown number of hands. This thing is better than God coming. But just as one person reached out to touch his waist, the street lamp suddenly exploded with a bang. Darkness descends, and the two of them instantly become invisible. But in the next second, two floating flames rose in the darkness. A hoarse voice whispered, "I saw you." Hearing the voice, the black brother looked up, his body froze suddenly, and the arrogance on his face before turned into fear at this moment. I saw a skull burning with flames in front of me, staring at me fiercely. Deadpool, that's a little bit different than I thought. Quill, it's not just the same. The action romance movie has become a horror movie. Hawkeye, what the hell is this? It doesn't look like a person. Tony, Flame Skull. What a new experience. Magician Wang, it's weird, it looks evil, but I feel like it's divine. Ebony Moore, exactly. This looks like a creature of hell, but the power is quite different. Mystery, it's very simple, because this thing was made by Mephisto. Outside the light curtain. As soon as these words came out, many people in the chat room were shocked. In the SUV, Phil Coulson almost peed out at this moment. This midnight theater is too exciting, isn't it? Although Natasha Romanoff on this side had already prepared herself for not being an ordinary person, this scene was still too extraordinary. At this moment, screams sounded. She saw a black man standing there without resisting or running away. It's just a face full of horror, screaming continuously. Flames burst out of the eyes. 4.5. The other BLCKMN was bound by a chain of flames after he escaped more than 10 meters away, and then burned instantly and turned into a scorched skeleton. And this happened in less than 3 seconds. The next moment, the flame skull let out a sigh of satisfaction, glanced at the woman again, and rode away on a ferocious chariot transformed by flames. For a while, both Phil Coulson and Natasha Romanoff fell into a shocked silence, thinking about how to go back and tell the director that they saw a skeleton covered in fire and could drive a motorcycle. 1. At this moment, Thor said lightly, "It looks like our biker is good, let's ask him to perform." 082 Johnny, it's only 50 meters. FK, add. Scorching sun, noon. Bang bang bang. There was a rapid knock on the broken wooden door, and in a room full of wine bottles, Johnny Blazer sat up with his chicken coop on his head. Before he could speak irritably, an old man's even more irritable voice came from outside the door. "Get up, you drunkard." "Come to live." Johnny, who was about to scold a few words, suddenly came to his senses. He sat up from the sofa, kicked away a few wine bottles, walked quickly to the door and opened it, looked at the old man who had already bawled and said, "What job, John?" "You know I don't pick up convoys, it's too uncomfortable to be in the sun." The old man took a mouthful of phlegm. "You're f***ing starving to death, and you're still picking and choosing." "Damn it, you still owe me 3 months' rent." Johnny shrugged and said he would pay it back. John rolled his eyes and said, "As luck would have it, a big boss in town is putting on an anniversary show for the casino." 17. "I don't know where I heard that you are a stunt driver, someone is here." "How to say?" Johnny asked excitedly. John holds out 5 fingers. 5,000 knives, 70 meters, you can bring your own motorcycle, or the casino provides it. Johnny smiled confidently. "Small idea." Add. "I didn't blow it, I flew 90 meters, 27 cars." 90 meters? You flew 90 meters and died a long time ago." The old man took another mouthful of phlegm, and then said, "Be careful with him, Texans." After speaking, the old man slapped a name tag on Johnny, then left cursing. Johnny doesn't care about this stubborn old man. Although he once saved the other party's life, he felt that it was just a matter of convenience. Less than an hour later, wearing the only clean leather jacket, Johnny rode his Harley to the address recorded on the business card. He was greeted by a middle-aged man with a tall hairline and a female assistant who looked very hot. As for the boss, he didn't see him at all. When he was happy to leave with a deposit of 500 knives, a man pushed the door and entered. "Master Thor," he agreed, and he didn't even look at whether I reported his insurance or not. Phil Coulson laughs, pointing at the papers on the table. Natasha Romanoff couldn't help but rolled her eyes. A flaming skull probably wouldn't be able to fall to her death no matter what, it's just insurance. Thor nods, as long as he agrees. In doing this kind of thing, he has to admit that this SHIELD is indeed more convenient than Kamartaj. As the king who helps him deal with Kamartaj's various trivial matters, his pockets are almost cleaner than his face. "I went to some wheat or something once, and he was the one who treated the guests." SHIELD is different. Casino, relationships, funds, and performance rights are all handled comfortably for him. Other than Phil Coulson and Natasha Romanoff, he didn't want to have anything to do with each other. But now it seems that it is still useful. At this moment, Natasha Romanoff asked puzzledly, "Master Thor, why did you ask him to perform? With your strength, you can just grab him directly." Add. "Oh, by the way, The director asked me to ask the latter sentence. SHIELD doesn't want such a dangerous person hanging out, but judging from the report, it may be very difficult to catch. It would be great if Thor can solve it. Phil Coulson said he heard nothing. But Thor didn't care, just said lightly, it doesn't make any sense to catch him. As for why you asked him to perform, you will see why tomorrow. Natasha Romanoff nodded, indicating that she would just reply to Nick Fury. The next day, huge amounts of at the moment the stadium was full of tourists, motorcycle stunts, superstar singing, talk shows. For them who came to play, it was a worthwhile trip to have such a lively event. Soon, the motorcycle stunts that require venue construction will start first. Johnny was not the only driver who was invited, but he was the only one who jumped the 50-meter distance. After more than half an hour, it was his turn to play. The longest two ends of the stadium have already erected slopes, and there are 10 helicopters in the middle. Looking at this familiar yet unfamiliar scene, Johnny still couldn't help being a little excited. He only had this skill in his life, but it became what he is now due to various accidents. Definitely, he never thought about returning to this profession. $5,000 is enough for him to drink for a while after paying off the rent, and from the throbbing hunger hunting of the soul. He is not suitable for famous either. Buzz, with the low roaring sound of the engine, the accelerator is getting faster and faster. It's only 50 meters. Small. Johnny smiled confidently under the helmet, and then suddenly released the brake. Boom. The wild Harley let out a loud roar, and then went out like a cheetah. In the stadium, the acceleration platform is only 100 meters long, and the breathing space has come to the end. Immediately jump out. Then is the familiar 227 upright body. Adjust the posture, and control the wind resistance angle. 10 meters. Still very simple. 20 meters. The feeling of the wind brushing across the cheeks is pretty good. 30 meters. There is something wrong with the angle. Please adjust it. 40. Something is wrong. The wind resistance is a bit big. Why so big? 50 meters. 50 meters did not pass. Johnny drew a parabola in the air with his motorcycle, and then fell down at 49 meters. Fuck. Johnny uttered an incomprehensible curse and fell to the ground. His head was twisted 180 degrees, and he fell to the ground motionless. The stadium was quiet for a full 3 seconds, and then there were piercing screams one after another. VIP room. Looking at this scene, Phil Coulson was silent for a second and then said, he should read the insurance policy. 083 Heretics. Didn't you buy insurance for him? Natasha Romanoff asked with a look of surprise. Phil Coulson looks embarrassed. I want to save some money for the bureau. You know the current situation. The hearts of honest people are really dark. Natasha Romanoff sighed inwardly and glanced at Thor secretly. I found that the other party was looking at the panicked venue with a calm face, as if waiting for something. That is, at the moment, there was a stronger exclamation in the stadium. At this time, the violent roar of motorcycles sounded. Natasha Romanoff turned around and saw the dead Johnny Blazer with his head spinning 180 degrees, standing up like a lost family. Then staggered and sat on the motorcycle again. My mind snapped back to its original position, and I twisted the accelerator. The tires of the Harley-Davidson motorcycle instantly burst into flames, and they rushed out at an unbelievable speed among the shocking rescuers, and disappeared at the entrance of the stadium a few seconds later. In the VIP room, Phil Coulson couldn't help exclaiming, "Look, Natasha Romanoff, I said no need to buy insurance." The latter ignored him, turned to look at Thor and asked, "Master Thor, do you need to send someone to chase after you?" Before she left, Nick Fury had given her permission to fully cooperate with the other party in everything. Definitely, terrorist attacks, evil and other non-existing causes. Thor shook his head and said meaningfully, "No, I just need to let time ferment it now." Natasha Romanoff suddenly understood that Johnny Blazer's failure to leap over just now might have been controlled by Thor. It's just that she can't figure out why this strong man wants to expose the other party. What is the deep meaning? However, for the current world, it will not cause panic. After all, things like the Hulk and Iron Man have not just happened a few times. Not to mention, SHIELD will launch that chilled old bacon Captain America soldier soon to restore the image. At this moment, Thor is also looking at the exit of the stadium. His eyes emit a faint white light, and his eyes seem to see that ghost rider galloping on a street through space. It seems to see the dignified face of the other party, as if to see through the restlessness and anger in the other party's heart. "Run, Nibba. After this, you will thank me for saving your fate." After saying something calmly in his heart, Thor nodded slightly to Natasha Romanoff, turned and walked into the portal that opened instantly and disappeared. 2 hours later, the stunt driver came back from the dead, and the news of riding the flame chariot spread all over the internet, and was reported by major TV stations at the same time. Italy, Vatican. Under the cathedral, after listening to the report, a man in a black priest uniform nodded slightly, showing a holy look. "The power of my Lord has appeared again. This time, we are bound to take it all back from the hands of evil." Texas, the basement of a bar. Humans with dismembered limbs are placed in an evil blood donation circle. A wretched man with twisted yellow teeth and protruding eyes rolled his eyes and said to himself, "Master, there is a message about Ghost Rider." Add. Okay. Okay, I'll prepare now. New York, Brooklyn. In an apartment, Danny Cage fell silent while watching the flaming chariot on TV. It was not until a long time later that he muttered to himself, "The same power." After speaking, he picked up the car keys on the table and went downstairs without any hesitation. Chatroom. Tony, I read that right, it's the Vatican. Dr. Banner, it seems to be true, the Earth seems to be getting more and more complicated. Is there really a God? Steve Rogers, if there is a hell, maybe there is a heaven. Natasha Romanoff, you're right, after all the Norse gods, the Greek gods, the Egyptian gods. It's probably not surprising. President Loki, but I haven't heard of a god. Tony, that's unreasonable, and the priest has already appeared in the light curtain. Kongzu, stupid mortals, if you mean the omnipotent god you believe in, there really isn't one. However, there is indeed the existence of that kind of hypocritical holy power. Oh, by the way, you guys are used to calling them angels. But in my opinion, they are just ancient demons who were also born on the earth, but with different power attributes. Banner, this is simply more shocking than when I, an atheist, suddenly knew that there is a god. I have to take it easy. Tony, this truth is indeed a bit surprising. However, why do they say that the spirit of vengeance is my lord's calendar? Magician Wang, I seem to know this. In the record of the Great Flood event 6,000 years ago, there seem to be spirits of vengeance indeed. Kongsu, those are just a group of imitated defective products. The real spirit of revenge. TSK. Tony, what's the real one like? Outside the light curtain, Kongsu did not continue to speak out. Secrets come at a price, and if you keep telling them, the dead silent Mephisto might get pissed off. He likes to burn fire, but he doesn't like to burn fire on himself. History Stark Building. Tony waited for several seconds and didn't see the recovery, so he was a little disappointed. Then he turned to Loki. Asgard has a long history, as you must know. Loki sneered. Think I'll tell you? Well, the fact is that he doesn't know either, otherwise he would still be willing to show off in front of the other party. But this kind of secret, don't mention him as an adopted child. He probably doesn't even know about you. Perhaps only God King Odin can understand the whole of Asgard. SHIELD. Nick Fury's eyes were deep. He doesn't believe in God, and he might as well believe that he is the reincarnation of Jesus. In his eyes, this Vatican will be included in the key monitoring targets in the future, and at the same time, people will be sent to make contact. He doesn't think that having good power is a good person. Johnny Blazer hurried along the highway towards Los Angeles after saying goodbye to the landlord John briefly. It is the closest city to Las Vegas, and it is also a city full of chaos and death. He hopes to hide there for a few years until everyone forgets about him. At the same time, under the influence of the spirit of revenge in his body, he also felt angry at this moment. Flying a distance of 50 meters, he could do it before he didn't have that monster in his body, let alone now. Now that I think about it, there must be a conspiracy for that casino to come to him suddenly. If he didn't leap over, it must be because the other party has done something. Night. Johnny turned into a dilapidated house that no one lived in for a long time, and nestled in a dark corner. Next, he must also reduce the number of times he hunts evil spirits at night. At the moment, he needs to appease the raging flame, although it is probably useless. Soon, half a month will pass. This city doesn't seem to have changed. Gangs, murders, blood, drug dealing, fighting. Maybe there are a little more people missing than before, but who cares? Like, say, a stupid blonde tourist from out of town being dizzy by an unknown beauty in a bar, and then disappeared completely after being taken away. 4. Inside a warehouse. At the moment, more than a dozen men and women were tied to the ground, and panic and fear were written all over their faces. Some timid ones have even peed in fright, but maybe they are not to blame. Anyone who looks at the three-headed dog on an iron chain not far away, and the ground is covered with cult patterns that can only be seen in movies, may feel psychologically uncomfortable. Definitely, Thor's pale face is just faking it. He is quite grateful that the female believer didn't need him to create an illusion of sacrificing his appearance, and directly brought him here to stun. Next, he waited for help to arrive. Although that group of people is a bit stupid, he still gave a lot of information. For example, report to the nearby church. The warehouse by the pier has been hearing strange screams and the smell of rotten eggs from time to time. The time will come to 2:20 in the morning. The warehouse door was opened heavily, and then a dozen people wearing black hoods with their heads hidden in hoods hurried in. When he reached the crowd of terrified and bound people who were whining, the leader lifted his hood, revealing the white mask of despair underneath. He looked at the crowd like a master looking at a lamb, and let out a strange exclamation. Relax everyone. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Under the gaze of the great demon Lord Blackheart, you will gain true eternal life. It was fine if he didn't say it at first, but when he said that, a few people who didn't cry at first started crying too. At this time, The man wearing the mask suddenly showed surprised eyes, looked at a blonde young man not far away and said in surprise, "Good psychological quality. Well. The figure and appearance are also very good. Perhaps you should survive and become a follower of our Lord, bringing him more flesh and blood." He slowly walked up to Thor and said in a seductive voice, "Young man, now I will give you a chance to survive, a chance to become a real strong man." You should have seen that Playboy Iron Man on TV, right? As long as you join us, you will find that the so-called armor is vulnerable to hellfire, the body underneath is fragile, and the soul is just our plaything. You will become stronger than Iron Man. As he spoke, he opened his palm suddenly, and a black flame that was constantly twisting and twisting, as if a soul was struggling inside. Outside the light curtain, Tony Stark's face was very ugly, not because of being ridiculed. Instead, he suddenly felt that what the other party said was probably true. Although the alloy of the battle armor has strong defense, energy absorption, and shock resistance, it will become a stuffy jar even if it is not melted when it encounters high temperature, directly turning him into a roast chicken. If you encounter a psychic attack, you will have no defense at all. After thinking for a while, he looked at Loki and asked, "Will you as good trade Looney runes? Since that rune is so powerful, it can definitely strengthen the armor to an exaggerated level." Loki didn't sneer, he just raised his head, but he seemed to be looking down and said flatly, "Do you think you have something in exchange?" So, Tony fell silent again. The high temperature of hellfire distorts the space. Such a strange scene, coupled with the words of the cultists, several kidnapped people passed out in an instant. Kian Lehel, but the person who summoned the flame doesn't care. If the handsome blonde young man in front of you can agree, it will undoubtedly be easier to abduct women in the future. After all, the master likes to eat the flesh and blood of women, and the rewards will be even more at that time. As for whether the other party will violate the promise after agreeing, he is not worried. When a person has tasted this powerful force, it is impossible to be content with being ordinary. And most importantly, he can control his subordinates. How about it? As long as you become one of us, now you can have this hellfire. As he spoke, he flicked the flames, easily melting a steel shelf. After finishing, he showed a confident look. One side is powerful, and the other is death that is coming soon. He knows how the other party will choose. At that time, as long as the contract is signed, everything will be completed. But in the next second, he watched the pale young man's eyes gradually expel the space, and said firmly in a trembling voice, "No, I refuse." The cultists first showed an unbelievably shocked look, and then they all became furious. But before they had time to do anything, they heard a cold voice coming from the warehouse door. "Good. A group of heretics who betrayed themselves. How can they know the nobility of the soul? 08 For the ignorant is fearless." The sudden voice made everyone turn their heads to look. At the gate of the warehouse, a nun with a sterling silver cross, wearing a black robe like outerwear, and a pure white lining slowly walked in. And behind the opponent, there are 4 priests. Miscellaneous lackey. The leader of the cultist looked at the woman coldly and said, "You guys are waiting in Italy for Angel to give you some holy water, and you dare to come to Los Angeles. I really don't know how to live or die." The woman's face is not angry at all, she just looks at the man with cold eyes. "Defiler, I will purify you on behalf of the holy light." After speaking, she decisively launched a charge. The leather boots made fierce stepping sounds on the ground, and the woman yanked off the cross necklace while running, and with a flick of it in her hand, white energy surged out and condensed into a big sword. The next second, she jumped up towards the crowd, and it was a jump without any gaudy "die to me." The cultists fled aside, only the leader stayed in place. He let out a roar that didn't resemble a human being, and his body swelled rapidly. In a blink of an eye, he tore through his loose black robe and turned into a ferocious half-demon about 3 meters long with black scales on his body. Clang! The great sword full of holy energy slashed on the arms covered with black scales, making a sound like gold and iron. No trace of damage. The milky white energy suddenly spread from the big sword, and the sound of sneering suddenly sounded. That is the scale armor is being corroded. Many people outside the light curtain felt their hearts tense. Shouldn't it be the energy of the hell demon corroding the great sword? Why is it the other way around? This does not seem to be the same as the legend records. At this moment, the half-demon let out a roar. Suddenly the space behind him twisted, and the fire of hell appeared out of thin air and instantly condensed into 3 fireballs, smashing at the woman. Sister Alina's eyes didn't change, but she said in a cold voice, "Shield." Suddenly, a holy light flashed on her great sword, and an oval white shield formed in front of her. Boom boom boom. 3 hellfire balls of basketball file size collided with it, and a violent explosion occurred immediately. Huge amounts of roaring and air waves directly lifted all the nearby shelves, and stunned several ordinary people who were captured at the same time, bleeding from their ears, mouths and noses. And at the moment other priests also fought the cultists. However, compared to women, their battles are much more unpretentious, basically relying on robbing. And stray bullets also killed several. 6:23 Outside the light curtain. Quill, this bitch doesn't look like a good person. Tony, it's not just that woman, It should be said that this group of people don't care about the lives of ordinary people. Natasha Romanoff, maybe the church is not here to save, but to destroy this group of evil. Hawkeye, this is too different from the church I imagined, a little too cold. Natasha Romanoff, thinking of their phrase God so loved the world at this time, I feel so ironic. Agatha, TSK, the witches in the forest of witches are evil, and the priests and nuns of the church are not kind, they are all hypocritical. Certi, so this world needs purification, fire can burn everything. Hayla, I can see that you are not evil. Certi, well, definitely, my mission is. Hayla, you just have no brains. Certi, damn woman, I was the first to kill you in Ragnarok. Quill, brother, I recalled ... You said that sentence 4 or 5 times. Certi, you too must die. Holy place number 2. Gamer looked contemptuous. How did this brain called Quill grow? This light curtain is over. The universe is so big that there may be no place for pigs to stand. She originally wanted to punish the other party, but now it seems that it is better to go around this fool. Thor thinks it's better for him to circle around. The stray bullets hit his body, not to mention itching, and his clothes will be ruined. So he pretended to stagger and ran to the wall, then sat in a more comfortable position, watching the boring fight. Don't look at the fierce fight between the nun and the half-demon, the momentum is also very bluffing. But I can't find a weakness. Second, to squander power at will. Third, I will not seek change, but will only be tough. Too bad. After he participated in counterinsurgency for the first time, he never fought such a battle again. However, as time passed, Thor frowned slightly. There is an improvement in the battle. It's just that half-demons. The opponent is getting more and more proficient in using the power given to her body, and instead began to gradually suppress the obviously stronger nun. Boom. Amid the shock of the flame explosion, the nun pushed back a few steps. Alina's mouth shows a sneer. This level of explosion can't break her shield at all. She will see how many times the opponent can use the Hellfire Ball. All the power comes from the devil. Is just a rootless weed. But just when she wanted to launch a fearless charge again, her expression changed. She looked down at her feet and found that at some point a black circle appeared on the ground, and there were dense human arms growing out of it. At the moment, she was grabbing her calf tightly. Alina immediately understood that the purpose of the fireball just now was not to injure her, but to make her retreat here. She fell for it. Despicable blasphemer. Alina's face is no longer calm, and she cursed angrily for the first time. The half-demon spewed out fiery sparks, made no secret of the desire in his eyes, and laughed ferociously. Don't worry, there are more blasphemy. As he spoke, he stuck out his scarlet tongue, breathing in the black smoke, and rushed towards the nun. Alina understood what it meant in an instant. Her eyes were bloodshot immediately, and she roared angrily, "Heretic, die!" Holy light judgment. The space fluctuated in an instant, and the warehouse instantly became extremely bright, as if there was a round of white country shining with glory. No, that's not the sun. It is a sword of light with huge amounts of 2 white wings protected by the hilt. In this holy light, the cultists felt indescribable oppression. Their hearts began to fear, and their hands and feet trembled involuntarily. The priests who are fighting all show surprised eyes. This is the high-level holy light judgment. Master Alina has already practiced this skill. It's a win. That half-demon who betrayed his soul must die. Several people turned their heads to look at the same time, and they saw nun Alina in a black dress being swayed by the power of the holy light. Her eyes were all white and cold, and her raised right hand suddenly lowered towards the startled half-demon. Press. Buzz. The air trembled, the sword of light locked onto the evil instantly, and then fell from the sky and bombarded the half-demon. In an instant, as if being hit by a 10,000 catty hammer, the half-demon groaned and knelt down on one knee. The cement floor was smashed to pieces immediately, and dense spider web cracks radiated to the surroundings. On his back is only the hilt of the sword, and the tip of the sword extends from his intact chest and pierces the ground. It seems that there is no wound, but he was suppressed by the energy of the explosion. At this moment, the nun clenched her 5 fingers and shouted angrily, "Burst!" In an instant, bright cracks appeared in the white energy sword, and then exploded. Just listen to the huge amounts of bang. A group of dazzling white light erupted with violent fluctuations. The ground trembled violently, and the iron roof of the warehouse was directly torn off. The same terrifying shockwave and airwaves blow up everything on the ground and fly around. The oppressed cultists couldn't touch the anti-collision spitting blood and didn't know whether they were alive or dead, and the priests who knew the effect had already ran out and hid in a safe place. As for those ordinary people, no one cares. After a few seconds, everything was calm, and the library returned to darkness. Sister Alina knelt on one knee on the recovered ground, panting heavily. This move almost drained all her holy light energy, but the result is still good. Although her face was pale, she breathed a long sigh of relief and said, "Fortunately, I killed that half-devil." A hoarse voice sounded in a broken warehouse, extremely clear. The next second, a weak fire-like magma rises, dispelling the darkness. Alina looked up and saw flames burning on the half-demon whose chest had been shattered. The heart that had been smashed was reformed in the flames, making a thumping heartbeat. Impossible. Alina makes an unbelievable cry, because this scene is completely contrary to the knowledge she has learned. The half-demon slowly raised his head, supported his body and half-kneeled, with a mocking smile on his ferocious face. Stupid lackey of the holy light. Do you really think that your body is really so attractive? Alina's face is pale. You deliberately seduced me to explode. But I obviously killed you. The semi-demon's eyes showed fanaticism. Walking said, my lord has come to earth, and the power he bestows is stronger than ever. None. Do you think we arrest these ordinary people for sacrifice? No, only the power of flesh and blood can restore more power to my lord. Hearing this, Alina's eyes widened in disbelief and said, the main body is here? How could Mephisto come here? According to the records of the church, this big devil can only project power, or duplication, or will come down. Not to mention there is Kamartaj on earth. That is the existence that even the church must avoid. Outside the light curtain, King Magician showed a disdainful smile. That's nice to say. Is it necessary to avoid it such? Shouldn't it be a shrinking turtle? Otherwise, with America's level of faith, this group of people would have developed to a terrifying level. But do they dare? In addition to recruiting some pious people in the Vatican to teach cultivation methods, if there are more people, I am afraid that there will be no core strength left, and they will be uprooted. Like a light curtain. In the current situation, he probably came here secretly. Oh, right. He remembered that the last ones who had such an idea were witches, and then they disappeared. The specific reason may be the selection of nature. Inside the warehouse, hearing the unbelievable words of the nun, the half-demon sneered. How could my lord be the coward of Mephisto? Only the great black demon can lead us to occupy this world and bring bliss to the world. Alina definitely knows who the black heart demon is. That's the son of Mephisto. It's just that I didn't expect that the father and son seem to be at odds with each other. However, even so, it is one of the great demons in hell, and its strength is extremely powerful. Although I don't know how to break through the dimension barrier, but the mouth. Alina looked at the half-demon viciously, and said, stop dreaming. The dimensional barrier has definitely discovered the black heart demon. When the time comes, the Sorcerer Supreme will come in person. You are looking for your own death. She remembered the goodness of Kamartaj. She no longer resented as usual. The half-demon sneers, Sorcerer Supreme? The Ancient One is dead, and your church doesn't even know it. He died in the power projection of Mephisto, and now is the weakest time on earth. Otherwise you think my lord is so stupid that you will come here. Actually, the black heart demon only smuggled part of his power in the beginning, just for the spirit of revenge. But I didn't expect to find that Ancient One died. He immediately blamed himself why Mephisto didn't tell himself the news and attacked the earth. But he was angrily reprimanded by the Lord of Hell. Amidst the anger, the black heart demon secretly made blood sacrifices for believers, and at the cost of weakening himself, he was able to break through the dimensional barrier and come to the earth. Because of this, he didn't dare to kill people directly. After all, that old Bbook can be descended by God. As one of black heart demon's confidants, Barrows knows most of the situation, but he won't tell the woman in front of him. And there is desire in his eyes again. It's just that the last time it was fake, this time it's true. Barrows looked at the nun and panted heavily. Perhaps, it would be good to perform in front of your subordinates. I wonder if their beliefs will still be so firm. If you fall, you can also make them happy. Alina's complexion suddenly changed, and she wanted to use the cross that had returned to normal file size without any hesitation. But the half-demon just pressed forward with 5 fingers, and suddenly a burst of black smoke directly knocked the cross and fell to the ground, and also knocked down the nun who barely stood up. At this time, 4 priests outside the warehouse have rushed in. They kept firing, but the bullets made clanging sounds on the half-demon's black scale armor, and they couldn't even make a scratch. Seeing this, several people hold the cross in their hands at the same time, wanting to switch to melee combat. Alina shouted suddenly, wanting a few people to escape. But at this time the half-demon sneered, run? Where to run? He waved his hand casually, and suddenly a ball of hellfire whizzed and hit the 4 priests. In an instant, a violent explosion directly lifted several people to the ground and screamed, unable to get up at all. After finishing, the half-demon smiled excitedly and deliberately walked towards the nun slowly. He wants to see the other party collapse, and even beg for mercy to himself. That scene must be very interesting. But when he got close to half the distance, he suddenly saw the nun's frightened and desperate eyes turned into shock and bewilderment. Unintelligible. What happened? The half-demon tilted her head slightly, not understanding, but then realized that the nun was not looking at herself. So, he looked back, and saw that the blonde young man who pretended to be calm was not only not dead, but he broke free from the bondage at some point, standing where he was, looking at him calmly. Own. The half-demon immediately said in a vicious, excited, and curious tone, significant. Interesting? Thor shook his head slightly and said, no. By contrast, I prefer bed accidents. 085 Loki, good Thor, give me some more. Hearing this, the half-demon licked his cracked lips, and the energy in the gap became more and more red. I didn't expect to be mistaken. What Chris caught was not a fish, but a hook. However, I just heard the word accident. Burrows narrowed his eyes slightly, sneered, hee, why, what kind of illusion made you feel that it was all my power crystals just now? Stupid humans. Now, I will let you understand what a real accident is. The voice fell, and the half-demon roared to the sky. He stimulated the hidden power. I don't know if it's blood or something that started to flow under the skin! The next second, his pupils began to tear apart, forming vertical pupils like goats. The black scales all over his body began to move, and black smoke kept coming out, as if the inside was burning. At last, the joints of his legs began to reverse, and his feet turned into black hooves. At this moment, his body swelled more than twice. His muscle lines were terrifying and disgusting, and his mouth full of fangs was exposed in a grin. Behind her, Sister Aliena is already stupid because this is not a half-demon at all, but a great demon who has been completely given blood. This level, this kind of breath that makes the soul uneasy. I am afraid that even among the demons in hell, they are definitely not weak. At this moment, Aliena's face turned pale. She originally had hope in her heart because of the blonde man, but at this moment, she fell into hell again and turned into despair. And this kind of mental journey from despair to hope, and then despair again in less than 3 seconds, almost broke her with a firm heart. Too exciting. Unacceptable at all. At the moment, if eyes could kill, she would have killed this blasphemer who betrayed humanity. You are not a devil. Obviously impulsive demon blood. Why is it so insidious? Feeling the strong negative emotions behind this, the demon bros showed a satisfied smile. Right, that is it. This is more conducive to the evolution of the devil's bloodline. But when he looked at the blonde man not far away, he frowned again. Not only is there no negative emotion at all, but it is still so calm, just like a robot. But that is a person. How could it be a machine? But people will have fear. Suddenly, Bartos has a realization in his heart. Is it not enough? So, let's show more. He made a move with one hand, and suddenly the corpse of a companion flew over, and he held it in his hand. Then he randomly cut off the head with one palm, and held the spine of the corpse with one hand, like pulling out a knife, slowly pulled out a whole spine. The whole process was extremely bloody. The splashed blood fell on his body and made a hissing sound, turning into foul-smelling green smoke. Finally, Bartos shook lightly, and the vertebrae burned into flames and turned into a bone sword. Looking at this scene, Aliena has no luck in her heart anymore. It's over. It's all over. This time, not only will the team be wiped out, but I will also be humiliated unimaginably. More importantly, the information about the arrival of the Black Heart Demon cannot be brought back. Bishop Levi will probably die because of this, and the church will lose one of its pillars, and it will be even more disadvantageous against the Black Heart Demon in the future. At the moment, Aliena thought a lot, and even a life marquee appeared in her mind ahead of time. At this moment, her dazed eyes saw the blonde young man walking forward step by step, while the devil stood firmly in place, motionless. Are you going to surrender? Sure enough, this is just an unbeliever's. However, this seems to be the only way for the other party to survive. Is the distance so short? I've already come to the front. The next step is to kneel down and offer your soul, right? I didn't expect that I, Aliena, the most devout believer of the Lord, would see this scene. What a joke. Boom. All thoughts in Aliena's heart come to an abrupt end with this sound. She stared blankly at the demon body that was shattered by a slap in the distance, leaving only half of its body, and the blonde young man who wiped his hands with disgust and regret. What happened? What did I see? The man just walked up to the devil, waved his hand casually, like driving away a fly, and slapped half of the opponent's body away. And the demon didn't even move the whole time, as if it was fixed. Illusion. This is definitely a mental attack by the demon on her. Otherwise there is no way to explain all this. At this moment, she saw that person looking over, that incomparably calm gaze, as if a flash of lightning had completely awakened her. Aliena suddenly lost all distracting thoughts, and her pupils trembled uncontrollably. At this moment, she finally knew why the big demon didn't move. Because, it's fear. It's extreme fear. It's more terrifying than seeing the Pope angry. It seems to be engraved into the soul and genes in ancient times. The fear of top predators. Chatterum. Deadpool, such a poor nun, not to mention a lot of inner jokes, and in the end she was scared to death by her own inspiration. Quill, it's pretty miserable. I guess she just saw her grandma. Gamera. Actually, the demon is even worse. Originally, both IQ and strength surpassed that nun. In the end, I was so scared that I didn't even dare to move, and I was directly slapped to death. Magician Wang. It is estimated that the degree of despair of this guy was no lower than that of the nun. Tony. It can only be said that Thor is a dimensionality reduction blow. Thor glances at the corpse. If he didn't need to imitate the effect of the big sword knocking down, he wouldn't do it. The next second, he summoned a flame casually, and created some scorched black on the wound. After finishing speaking, Thor looked at the nun again, and said lightly, "Go to sleep." As his voice fell, the nun's eyes suddenly became dull, and the next second she fell to the ground with a plop and fell into a coma. Seeing this, Thor shakes his head slightly. For the following plan, I have to modify the memory later. But it was an accident after all. He never thought that the Black Heart demon would be willing to give so much power to a human believer. Actually, if it wasn't for that special spirit of vengeance, he won medal. He killed the Black Heart demon as early as the beginning of his arrival. However, modifying the memory is not too troublesome. Asking for flowers, although he can't, there are people who can. Thor took out his phone and checked the time. 2:40 in the morning is the time when people sleep most soundly. But it doesn't matter. He raised his hand, and suddenly a golden light appeared, and a portal parallel to the ground appeared above his head. The next second, with a short exclamation, a figure fell out from inside, and was embraced by Thor. Raised his arms. Liu Ji, who woke up from her sleep, opened her eyes in a daze, and then saw a familiar chin from the angle of looking up. Oh, so it looks like this from this angle. No. What's happening here? Why does Thor raid himself in the middle of the night? Damn it. Bullying her again. However, when she felt the powerful arms embracing her, her face turned slightly red again. It seems to feel good too. But where is this place? Why is there a smell of blood? At this moment, Thor let go of the arm holding his leg and put Loki down. The latter pouted a bit reluctantly, but still stood still, and then observed the surrounding environment. Seeing this, she was surprised and said, "Brother, when did you become so bloody?" "Hiss, the devil smells really bad," Thor said helplessly. "It's really unpleasant, but there's nothing I can do about it." Then he briefly talked about what happened before, and then proposed how to modify the woman's memory. It's not too complicated, as long as it is modified to be the demon killed by the other party, and Thor is the one she rescued and survived. And because he has a firm belief in the face of demons and does not sell his soul, he is a good seed that can be brought back to the church to be trained as a combat priest. Loki didn't ask Thor about any of his plans. She always trusted him to do anything unconditionally in her heart. "But, Thor, you forgot that all my powers have been sealed by that old fellow Odin." "Kamataj's magical power, I haven't practiced it yet, and you won't let me learn dimensional magic." "HMPH, I suspect that you are with your father." Liu is speechless. "Guessed right, but no reward." Thor shook his head with a serious face. "Your power is sealed, but your ability is still there. Modifying memory is a witch skill you have learned yourself, and it cannot be erased." Speaking, he grabbed his sister's hand, and then slightly penetrated a trace of divine power into the opponent's body, and then said, "You try to put a magic firework." Liu suddenly felt a strange feeling, and instinctively activated the spell after hearing Thor's words. Suddenly, a dark green meteor rose from her palm and exploded into a beautiful firework. "Wow!" Liu opened her eyes wide and couldn't help but cry out. "It's really possible. This is a new version of the ship that has never been experienced before." The next second, she hugged Thor's arm excitedly, bouncing and saying, "Good Thor, give me some more, some more." 086 triple action. Snapped. Thor shuddered directly at Liu forehead, but seeing the other party's tears in pain, he couldn't help but rub it again. However, he changed his mind and wanted to show this guy a good face, and he probably wanted to make an inch of it, so he said seriously, "Is this for you to play? Hurry up and work for me." Liu tears disappeared immediately, squinting at 45 degrees to the sky, and raised her palm to signal. "Joke. You want her to work for no benefit?" Naive Thor, what makes you have this illusion that you can use your sister at will? A rare opportunity. The opponent must bleed. At this moment, she has even fantasized about the wonderful life of dominating Kamataj. For example, the Modu who always has a stinky face, let him be locked up in a confinement room for a few months first. There is also the Magician King, who dared to stop himself from borrowing advanced magic books, and gave them away too. By the way, there is also that stubborn Tauren. If you don't like talking, you will be fined to eat grass for a month. Then, the next second, Thor stretched out his big hand and directly pressed Liu fate's sky cap, turned it around a little bit, looked into his eyes and said calmly, "How about not turning you into a frog for 3 months?" Liu eyes widened suddenly, and said in disbelief, "You are the devil, right? Who would ask for help and threaten others?" 567. "I want to tell my mother." Thor let go of his hand, and said calmly again, "How about not turning you into a toad for 3 months?" Liu immediately succumbed, and then made a silent note in her heart. When she sees her mother, she must let her make the decision and turn the hateful Thor into a snake. Then she stretched out her hand angrily, and under the infusion of Thor's divine power, her left hand released a piece of dark green energy that began to erode the nun's brain. Originally, with Aliena's steadfast mental defense, it was impossible for Liu to succeed. But Thor directly broke the heart defense just now, and now I can only say that it can't be simpler. Liu modified the woman's memory with ease, and hid information such as the Black Heart demon. Then Thor patted his sister on the head rewardingly, and then directly opened a portal at the opponent's feet. So with another short Liu fell straight down. Thor decisively closed the portal immediately to prevent his sister from saying something that would destroy the friendship. Then he looked around, returned to his corner, and pretended to pass out to the doctor. After a few seconds, the nun woke up. As soon as she opened her eyes, she was taken aback by the scene in front of her. The corpse of a demon, the corpse of the companion, the corpse of the kidnapped person. There are corpses everywhere. What happened? As doubts arose in her heart, memories automatically emerged in her mind, and Aliena immediately remembered everything that happened. It was the fallen half-demon who evolved in battle and killed his companion. Seeing this, with the idea of perishing together, I overloaded the use of Holy Light Judgment, although I lost my strength and passed out in the end. But now it seems that at least the ending is good. That demon is already dead. As for the priests who died, she doesn't feel sad for these companions, because they just returned to the embrace of the Lord ahead of time. In the end, Aliena looked at the unconscious young man by the wall in the distance, and felt relieved. Fortunately, this good seedling is not dead yet. It must be taken back in a while. Given time, the other party may become one of the pillars of the church in the future. She values this young man with a firm belief. Whale, good guy, it's clearly arranged. Deadpool, bringing a sorcerer supreme back to the church to be a pastor is very exciting to think about. Tony. The Pope will probably be stunned. President Loki, when this woman regains her memory, she must have a wonderful expression. Magician Wang, I'm afraid I was split by the holy light long ago. Hawkeye, makes sense too. Los Angeles, Adams District. In the basement of a church, Bishop Levi is listening to Aliena's report. 10 minutes later, he drew a cross on his chest and sighed. I didn't expect these cultists to be so rampant. If they didn't just want to recover the spirit of revenge, they wouldn't have discovered the problem in Los Angeles. You did a good job this time, Aliena. I will report to the Pope about your bravery and your devout faith in the Lord. Hearing this, a handsome man standing behind the bishop showed displeasure in his eyes. Where did you complete this task? I almost died. The teammates are all wiped out, and only one ordinary person who was kidnapped survives, which is a complete failure. And the 4 priests who died were originally his subordinates. If it weren't for him who was more suitable to find Johnny Blazer, this situation would not have happened. Thinking that this woman is likely to be rewarded when she goes back, he feels even more upset. Here, Aliena lowered her head deeper after hearing the bishop's words, but there was a hint of excitement in her eyes. Eradicate heresy. This is what I should do. From now on, I will continue to kill all sins for my Lord until I die. Bishop Levi nodded in satisfaction, and then looked at the bewildered blonde young man standing not far away. If it is true what Aliena said, this is indeed a good seedling. After all, the only requirement for cultivating the holy light is devout faith, and a firm soul represents extraordinary ability. However, this place is too simple, and the first infusion of holy light can only be performed after returning to the Vatican. At this time, the handsome man also looked at Thor, with a hint of comfort in his eyes. If the opponent becomes a priest, there is a chance to become his team member. Soon, Bishop Levi gently encouraged Thor and left after a few words. He still needs to report the situation to the Archbishop. Thor also followed the nun, and returned to the church floor with a priest named Carl. Aliena goes directly to the meditation room. Ever since she woke up, she felt something strange about her body. In the end, she should have gained a lot from this battle. Maybe her body can hold more holy light. In the middle hall of the church, except for a priest who is lighting candles under the statue, only Thor and Carl are left. At this time, the priest showed a gentle smile and said kindly, Donald, I'll let you get acquainted with this place first. As my lord walks on the other side of the mortal world, this place is completely different from ordinary churches, and all kinds of holy objects are carried with power. It took 2 hours for Carl to send Thor back to the room. After closing the door, he showed a satisfied expression. The average person will be extremely exhausted after experiencing such a terrible event, and their spirits will also be listless, especially at this time when you need to sleep. However, this young man was able to persevere, without a trace of exhaustion, and was extremely tenacious. This is very suitable for a fighter who focuses on synthesis. Perhaps, I should mention it to the bishop. When the strong brainy is captured in a few days, you can let this young man watch from the sidelines, which can not only increase your knowledge, but also gain some experience. As for safety, it should be no problem to arrange a high-level holy object at that time. After all, it is just to watch from a distance, not to fight. Thinking of this, his face became cold again. Tonight he has found traces of Ghost Rider, and the bodies of the 2 souls burned to powder are so recognizable. The only pity is that the opponent's mobility is too fast, and when I get there, there are no people left. Brentwood District. In a remote corner, Danny stopped the Dodge Charger, and couldn't help exhaling. Tonight, his original intention was to look for the trace of that man named Johnny Blazer. But what I didn't expect was that the person was not found, but I saw people committing crimes continuously. In the end, he really couldn't hold back and judge the soul of a robber. Although this is the instinct of that group of flames, he was found that he has become more and more out of control recently. If things go on like this, he feels that he might be assimilated. So, one of the reasons why he wanted to find this person who had the same power as himself this time was because of this. It's just that he found Los Angeles all the way from Las Vegas, and the other party seemed to have evaporated, and he might fail. But he shook his head right away. No, I finally found the trace of the other party, and I must not give up. If the other party doesn't come out, Maybe I should take the initiative to do something. Just as I can't bear the sin, I'm afraid the other party can't stand it either. Perhaps, we can start from this point. Northwestern outskirts of Los Angeles, Hollywood. In a private manner, the top movie star of the day, at the moment, knelt on the beach, and in front of him, a shirtless, slovenly man with quill-like messy hair was sitting on the sofa, holding a fresh heart with blood in his hand. Compared to Mephisto, who pays great attention to elegance, his son Blackheart Demon looks like a savage who drinks blood. Chatterum. Deadpool. Mephisto, don't you want this to be your own? I don't look like your son. I'm afraid it's not your wife who put a hat on you. As soon as the words came out, countless people showed shocking and admiring eyes. Whose subordinate is this, so brave? Aboard the Beatana. At this moment, Star-Lord felt ashamed. Don't look at how he dared to offend Sovereign and Ronan. At worst, you can hide in the void. That place is very messy. But this is the Lord of Hell, who knows what special means. Not to mention that once caught by the opponent, death is not the end. He can only say that this big brother is really fierce. Be sure to see you in the future. In hell. 0.8 Mephisto has a sneer on his face. This is definitely a trap. Since this person has something to do with death, maybe he deliberately provoked himself. He will not be fooled. 10 minutes later. As a believer, the movie star McCann heard the message on his mobile phone, and quickly opened it to read it. Then, in just a split second, his back was wet with sweat. He didn't dare to raise his head, lowered his head tremblingly and said, Master. Master, the people who went to investigate have sent back news. According to the scene, Bartos has already. The whole group has been wiped out. The Blackheart Demon stopped chewing immediately, and continued to eat after a few seconds, until he ate the whole heart. He casually wiped his hands on the sofa, with a sullen expression on his face. It seems that the group of birdmen and lackeys with a stinky smell are coming. But it doesn't matter, they can just be my hunters to find knights. These dogs have very sharp noses, and they are the most suitable for this kind of work. But before that, I still have to help them. After speaking, the Blackheart Demon looked at a believer in front of him and showed a piercing smile. Then said in a very gentle and terrifying tone, You must be willing to help me, McCann. 087 My lord, you have nowhere to escape. Hearing the words of the Blackheart Demon, McCann suddenly raised his head in panic. Tremblingly said, Master. You, what are you going to do? Do what? Blackheart Demon said meaningfully, Definitely is the power you have always wanted. In an instant, the thick black hair on his head pierced into the man's heart like a poisonous snake. Then, the crimson energy from this great demon began to pour into it constantly and crazily. For a moment, the entire manor resounded with the scream of this big star. And listening to this voice, the Blackheart Demon showed a happy look. Sure enough, the screams of human beings are 100 times better than the demons in hell, and the earth will be your best paradise. The next day, in Los Angeles, a special parade is taking place. The well-known Hollywood movie star McCann is standing on an open-top sightseeing bus. His face was radiant, and while waving the leaflets printed on tonight's performance party, he kept laughing loudly in response to the fans and passers-by below. 8 o'clock tonight. He will perform a talk show to give back to the society in the largest gymnasium in Los Angeles. Those who hold the flyer can draw a lottery outside the stadium. At that time, there will be a total of 17,999 people, and they will enter the infield for free. And it doesn't matter if you don't get drawn. There will be a big screen outside the stadium for simultaneous live broadcast to watch. For 2 full hours, the sightseeing bus still hasn't stopped. Depending on the situation, this big star seems to have to take care of the whole city of Los Angeles before the end. Crossroads. Carl picks up a flyer and watches the vehicle disappear around the next entrance. Until then he frowned and said to himself, It smells so strong. 9,999 people. Do you want to have a super large blood sacrifice? At this level, it's hard to imagine what kind of great demon will be summoned. He quickly picked up the leaflet and hurried back to the church. After a brief explanation, Bishop Halil not only did not panic, but showed surprise. In his view, this is also an opportunity. The original idea of the church is to use powerful evil to seduce the spirit of revenge to appear, and this demon is so ostentatious, it happens to be able to make the best use of it. As for the blood sacrifice, even if the spirit of vengeance does not appear and the bishop is present, no one thinks it will be successful. Next, the church quickly dispatched the believers below to collect flyers. After taking it back to the church, use the secret method to amplify the demonic aura that exists on it, and then keep throwing it into every alley in Los Angeles, even the slums. Boom. The car door was opened, and after picking up a leaflet with one hand, the car door was quickly closed. In the silent space, the sound of breathing is getting heavier and heavier. In the dark room, Johnny stared at several leaflets on the ground outside through the gap in the window. He can feel that there is a strong stench on it. That's the smell of hell. He will never forget it. There is no doubt that the devil has appeared in this city of Angel, and is even planning something. Is it yourself? Or something more terrifying? Perhaps, There is no difference between the two. The former may have to die countless people because of himself, and the latter may have countless people die because of it. So, do I really want to continue to hide in a dark corner and continue watching? Besides, can you really bear it? After a few breaths, the pupils of this man trembled with flames, filled with unbearable anger and desire for revenge. He hisses, "That is a heinous crime." Judgment Night. Under the operation of Kian ability, a round platform was built in the middle of the stadium, and the 9,999 seats spread out round by round in a radial manner, and the seats are already full of people. At 8 o'clock, from all the edges of the round platform, orange flames more than 10 meters high are ejected violently. And when the flame fell only tens of centimeters, McCann had already appeared in the center of the round table. The field was quiet for a second, and then there were cheers one after another. Obviously the audience likes the big star's magic way of appearance. McCowan had a strange, uncoordinated smile on his face, holding the microphone and shouting, "Tonight, the 9,999 lucky ones present. Trust me, I promise you will have a night you will never forget. You all will be great through this." As his words fell, warm applause rang out among the audience seats. Carl applauds, while exhorting Thor beside him, "Rookie, pay attention to your own safety for a while. When we fight, I can't take care of you." Although the cross has a certain defensive power, it's okay to resist the aftermath of the battle. Remember to follow the flow of people and stay away. Among the 10,000 spectators present at the moment, there are more than 30 members of the church, a bishop, 3 priests, a fighting nun, and more than 20 priests. However, they will not rush to make a move. Everything will wait until the spirit of vengeance appears and kills the demon before doing anything. On the round stage, McCann's smile is getting bigger and bigger. It has gradually become a little exaggerated, a little weird. Even if the audience is in the first row, they can't see clearly because of the flames on the edge of the round platform. But outside the stadium, a large number of fans who failed to enter the infield, as well as fun people, felt a little intrusive when watching the weird smile on the big screen. But they didn't care too much. Guess it might be the intention of the big star. Maybe there will be some special performance. At this time, a violent roar sounded from outside the street. Everyone looked back instinctively, and the light of the flame was reflected in the eyes. Infield. The audience who were waiting for McCann's performance suddenly found that the other party stopped. After 3 full seconds, McCann suddenly let out a piercing shrill laugh, pointed his finger at the direction of entrance, and shouted, "Let us warmly welcome the real protagonist of this show, Ghost Rider, Mr. Johnny Blazer." Boom. Following his gestures, all the audience couldn't help turning their heads to look over. Boom. As a violent flame erupted in the tunnel, a flaming skeleton jumped out of it riding a hell chariot. In an instant, countless audiences showed shock, fear, and disbelief in their eyes. And before the roaring chariot hit the ground, the flame skull also pulled the chains wrapped around his body. 943 with a strong shake. The chains became red and hot, and then precisely wrapped around McCann's body. Boom. The chariot that leapt hundreds of meters landed on the round platform. Ghost Rider stretched out his hand and yanked it, and immediately locked McCann and flew to him. It looked down, its eyes of flame looked at the exaggerated man at the corner of at the moment's mouth and said angrily, "You are guilty." As the voice fell, the flame spread from his hand to McCann through the chain. The next second, this superstar who usually attends various charity galas is like alcohol meeting fire, and it burns violently with a bang. On the seat, Father Carl frowned. The current situation is completely different from what everyone imagined. This demon with a strong aura didn't even escape the blow from the spirit of vengeance. Not to mention fighting. This is too unreasonable. He turned his head to look at the bishop in the distance, and found that the other party had the same gloomy expression. Obviously, this is very wrong. At the same time, some of the audience in the venue were frightened and dumbfounded, while others screamed in fear and wanted to get up and run away. But at this moment, McCann's exaggerated laughter came from fire. "Ha ha, ha 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 ha. My lord, none of you can go." Click. McCann's charred head shattered in the flames. At the same time, a huge circular pattern exuding blood and evil aura appeared on the ground. In an instant, densely packed arms grew out of it, grabbing 9,999 viewers tightly. And in the center of the round platform, a dark vortex appeared. 088 demonized. Click. Suddenly a bloody lightning flashed across the clear night sky. It seems that something extremely ominous has happened. At this time, a foot with long black and slender nails, like an ancient dinosaur, stepped out of the vortex, and fell heavily. In an instant, the entire huge amounts of round table vibrated for a moment. Ghost Rider seemed to sense something, and the flames in his eyes were even worse. The next second, a humanoid monster with a height of about 2 meters, with a pitch-black body, a back that seems to be covered with vertebral bones, and a long tail, with finger-thick and thin long hair, came out of it. It glanced at it with a pair of scarlet eyes, and let out a scalp-numbing laugh. "Spirit of vengeance. Birdman's lackey. It's all done this time, so I don't have to bother me." At this time, there was a loud shout from the audience, "You are The Black Heart Demon? How dare you come to Earth? Impossible. Bishop Levi's face was shocked at the moment. His eyes were full of shock and anger, and he couldn't understand why the other party dared to do this. Hearing this, Father Carlton's heart sank. He knows what the Black Heart Demon represents. But hearing this, the Black Heart Demon was a little surprised. Looking at the expressions of this group of people, it seems that they really don't know that they are coming. In this way, Bartos is quite loyal, and he didn't tell himself until his death. Pity. He still wanted to say something, but at this moment the whistling wind sounded. The Black Heart Demon turned his body at will, and easily dodged the attack and came to the chain. Then he randomly grabbed it with 5 fingers, and the magic circle on the ground was immediately changed. The scream of fear disappeared immediately. All ordinary people rolled their eyes and their souls began to leave their bodies. And the 20 or so pastors are also very uncomfortable, their faces are pale, their minds are dizzy, and they will not be able to suppress the feeling of detachment at any time. Soul capture. At this time, the simplest power of the Black Heart Demon, and in front of him, it is just a random display. Bishop Levi immediately shouted anxiously and quickly, "Spirit of vengeance, we must cooperate, we cannot let him eat these souls, otherwise he will become stronger. You entangle him." As he spoke, he didn't care if the other party heard or not. He opened his arms and hugged inwardly. In an instant, pure white light bloomed from his body, and the soul that was about to be pulled away fell back into his body. At the same time, those arms are also annihilated under the holy light. More than 9,000 spectators suddenly woke up from a ghost bed, and then screamed out and madly escaped. At this moment, no one thinks that they are lucky to be selected. Among the crowd, Father Carl firmly grasps Thor to prevent him from falling. At the same time, shouting, "Run along, don't look back, go as far as you can. Don't think about returning to the embrace of the Lord after death, that's not what you should do now." After finishing speaking, he and the priests, as well as the bishop against the crowd, ran towards the round platform. Thor is a little surprised. This person is much better than that nun. However, he didn't say anything, and jumped out following the flow of people. The reason why he has done so much is not to kill a stupid Black Heart Demon right now. At this point he glanced indistinctly at a dark corner above the stadium, where another key vengeful spirit was still watching. Chatterum. Mystery. Another key spirit of vengeance? Isn't this something that Mephisto made with the ancient demons at Innos? How do you hear Thor's meaning? It seems that there are deeper secrets. Quill. Unbelievable. I didn't understand anything you said. The chat room fell into silence. Obviously, not only Quill, almost everyone didn't know what this man called the secret guest was talking about. In Holy Place number 2, Thanos took a deep breath, feeling increasingly uneasy. Earth's water looks to be getting deeper. Secret guest, Ancient One Magician, you should know. Can you solve the puzzle? Baron Mordo, how could it be possible? Magician from Limbo, you die of this heart. If the exposure of the light curtain is helpless, but this kind of secret that will bring disasters to reality cannot be told to you. Secret guest, you seem to know? Baron Mordo, I am the Sorcerer Supreme of Universe 838. Magician Wang, this is too magical, that rigid, Modu, I mean you are too serious, not suitable. Mordo, Humphrey. Outside the light curtain, even Ancient One's state of mind, at the moment, produced a wave of waves. Although he knew it was a different universe, he could tell from the fact that the opponent's reward was the defensive dream-walking spell that Strange's particularity spanned multi-universes. And if Mordo becomes Sorcerer Supreme, there is no doubt that the Doctor Strange of that world should be dead. But what happened to kill the most powerful magician of this ability? So, what did the self in another timeline see? Anti-Earth. Inside the giant spaceship, the Supreme Evolution's eyes are full of interest. He only focused on genes before, but now it seems that the soul is even more mysterious. So much so that the Sorcerer Supreme persisted even when the light curtain was likely to be exposed. And the Lord of Hell uses powerful ancient demons to conduct soul experiments, so can he try with other souls? He originally wanted to catch Rocket Raccoon back in the chat room, but now he has completely lost interest. Maybe it would be nice to capture the magician in that saboteur. Rubbish. In the dilapidated temple, Kongsu felt his skull go numb at this moment. The secret guest's words made him suddenly think of something. The vengeful spirit inside Johnny Blazer is Zetanos, who was tested by Mephisto. So who's inside that Danny? He originally thought that the opponent's body was the imitation of the batch of defective vengeful spirits from 6,000 years ago. But this Thor values so much, I'm afraid it's not just that. This situation is looking more and more weird. Maybe there is an old silver coin called Mephisto. Boom. With a loud noise, the round table was torn apart and exploded towards the surroundings. Can be vaguely seen in the turbulent dust. The crimson chains are dancing wildly in the air. Then the chain suddenly stopped, as if it was wrapped around something. In the next second, a hot flame erupts from the inside out. The priests who wanted to besiege inwardly were instantly knocked into the air by the shockwave and fell to the ground. Only bishops and priests can stand still. As the flame disappeared, the two looked at what happened inside at the same time. I saw that Ghost Rider successfully entangled the Black Heart Demon with chains, holding the opponent's head tightly with both hands, aiming at his own eyes. Carlton was overjoyed. He definitely knows what the other party is doing. The eye of judgment of the vengeful spirit can burn all evil souls. As long as you are stared at, you will definitely die. But in the next second, the smile on his face froze, because the black heart demon not only shows no abnormalities, but shows a ferocious smile. He completely ignored Ghost Rider's suppression, slowly stood up, looked down at the pair of flaming eyes and sneered, "You think I'm those stupid demons, or the devil who is scheming in his heart all day long? Neither. I was created by my father from accumulated evil mistakes. Judge me? Then you have to let me get the soul first." After he finished speaking, he let out a sinister laugh, and his body suddenly swelled, breaking the chains on his body almost instantly. One punch directly blasted Ghost Rider away. But at this moment, an extremely solid sword of holy light fell from the sky and hit the black heart demon, locking him in place like a broken sword. It was Father Levi who made the move. At this moment, Father Carl jumped up, and spread two wings of light behind him. Raising your hand, a spear built with holy light appears in your hand. Destroy evil. As the spirit of speech falls, the spear instantly becomes a real entity, with sacred patterns appearing on it, and then Carl throws it forcefully. Like a thunderbolt flashing across the space, the spear hit the black heart demon almost instantly, passing through the chest. The black heart demon immediately spit out a mouthful of black blood, and it went down. "Success!" Carl shouted out in surprise. "How is it possible?" The black heart demon suddenly raised his head, showing an exaggerated laugh. "I lied to you." Black energy erupted instantly from the surface of his body, easily destroying the sword, prison and spear. At this time, Bishop Levi's eyes became incandescent, and a silver-white pillar of fire was summoned in the roar and flew forward rapidly. Black heart demon snorts coldly. "If your Pope uses this trick, it's almost the same. You are nothing but a bigger piece of trash." He stomped hard on the ground, and a deep hole was instantly blasted out. His body rushed over like a cannonball with white flames on it. The bishop's face changed, and when he realized that he couldn't dodge, a shield of words and spirits was formed on his body. The next second, the sound of breaking sounded, and he spit out blood and flew out directly. At the same time, the black heart demon waved back casually, and the priest who attacked immediately was knocked away like a fly. Nuomazao. At this moment, a roar rang out. Ghost Rider covered in flames is attacking like crazy. The corner of Black Heart Demon's mouth curled up into a sneer, and ran towards him step by step. Looking from a distance, two waves of air were set off on the ground, and then they collided suddenly. Boom! In an instant, the fire of hell erupted. But the terrifying flames have no effect on the Black Heart Demon. Just in a split second, they strangled Ghost Rider's cervical spine with crushing force. Just when he was about to use his strength to remove his head to see if the opponent was still alive, the ground suddenly started to shake, and there was a sudden roar from the seats walls of the stadium. Outside the light curtain, all the viewers feel a sense of support at this moment. There must be something scary about to appear. Next second, following a roar, a body twisted and shape-shifted, burning the flames, and the extremely ferocious huge machine over 30 meters high broke through the wall and rushed into the stadium with billowing black smoke. And in the cab, another Ghost Rider is controlling. 089 Here we go. Outside the light curtain, the eyes of countless people are full of shock, looking at the mechanical monster that breaks through the city wall like an ancient monster that's covered in blazing fire and thick billowing black smoke. No matter how you look at it, it looks like a creation of hell. At first glance, it looks like a mechanical demon. Chatterum. Quill. FK. What the hell is this? Rocket. Why do I feel like this thing has come to life? How the hell is this possible? Mystery. This is demonization, a power unique to Ghost Rider. You can use hellfire to transform any object, even life, to become stronger. Quill. Then if this demonizes a starship, wouldn't it be invincible? Baron Mordo. That also depends on whether the knight has such power. In theory, he can even demonize a planet, but the reality is that his power is impossible. Magician Wang. That kind of scene must be very spectacular. Tony. If this helps me enchant a set of armor. Natasha Romanoff. Burn you to death. Tony. Well, let's see if it's okay. You, a woman, don't understand the fun of collecting at all. At this time, there was a loud noise in the light curtain. The demonized engineering machine makes a deafening engine roar, like a roaring monster rushing towards the Black Heart Demon. The flames were soaring into the sky, burning with flames. The smasher, full of exaggerated sort of, was raised high, and then smashed towards the Black Heart Demon, without taking into account the 573 death of another Ghost Rider. It's very simple, they are immortal. Boom. The ground shook heavily, and the smasher like a flaming meteorite directly engulfed the Black Heart Demon in a crushing posture. Then there were bursts of roaring sounds, and the pulverizer, which was 10 times larger than the millstone, began to spin crazily, and at the same time burst into even more turbulent flames. The ground sank at a speed visible to the naked eye in an instant, and what was sprayed up at the same time was no longer sand, but splashing magma. Ghost Rider exaggerated and crazy laughter came from the cab. He pushed the joystick forward more violently over and over again, as if he wanted to grind the Black Heart Demon into powder and melt it. At this moment, the ground suddenly became more violent. Danny, who turned into a knight, was taken aback for a moment, and then saw the pulverizer being lifted up a little bit. The next second, with a roar, the crushed black demon grows crazily, squeezes out the soil, and turns into a gigantic state tens of meters high. Following a roar, the demonized engineering vehicle was tightly hugged by his arms. After spinning a few times, it was thrown out violently, hitting the stands of the stadium, smashing the structure and falling into it. In an instant, the flame disappears, and the magic fades away. The engineering machine is restored to its dilapidated and rusty state. At this time, the Black Heart demon jumped up, followed him suddenly, and smashed it on the construction machine. Then laughing wildly, "There is still one." Unexpectedly, "There is another one. Ha 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 ha, I'm so lucky." At this moment, like a huge amounts of King Kong, he raised his pitch-black arms high, laughed wildly with excitement, and punched the cab one after another. The huge amounts of power make the entire stadium shake constantly. And the Ghost Rider in the cab can't resist at all. Father Cal, who was lying on the ground, was ashamed when he saw this scene. This level of Black Heart demon, they are impossible to defeat. But at this moment, a roar sounded. In the big pit before, Johnny Blazer's Ghost Rider, incarnate with black smoke, roared and jumped towards the Black Heart demon, and landed on the huge amounts of body, attacking non-stop, crazily bursting out one after another hellfire. The Black Heart demon suddenly surged with black energy like electric current, and Ghost Rider immediately let out a painful roar. At this time, a scarlet iron chain pierced through the shattered cab, and was precisely wrapped around a huge amounts of arm of Black Heart demon. The next second, the flame exploded, and Danny's knight erupted from the ruins. He yanked the chain hard, drawing an arc in midair with his body to avoid the Black Heart demon's claws, and also landed on the opponent's back. He also erupted with flames covering Johnny, who was corroded by black energy, and the latter relaxed immediately. Without any words, the two look at each other and start a new attack. While releasing the fire of hell, they swing the chains and attack the eyes of the head. Black Heart demon's body is harder than alloys and more resistant to high temperatures than diamonds. That may be the only weak point. The Black Heart demon let out a roar, and at this moment, his body was suspended and flew into the air. The next second, his muscles all over his body bulged out one by one, and black energy surged out even more violently than before. Among the powerful corrosive energy, the two Ghost Riders felt unimaginable pain. "Don't talk about continuing to attack. I'm afraid it will fall in a few seconds." Just then, the night sky suddenly turned white. Echoes of holy chants resounded in the stadium. Bishop Levi floated in midair, his eyes were glowing, and his back spread angel wings. Then he opened his arms. Tuan Cheng said, "Dedication." In an instant, a pure silver flame burned on his body, and then hit the Black Heart demon like a meteor. The priest looks at this scene dully. He knew that the bishop had sacrificed himself in exchange for a higher power zone. The next moment, the flaming meteor exploded, forming a rain of fire that flooded the Black Heart demon. Suddenly, screams sounded. This is the first time the Black Heart demon has been hurt. White flames fell on the body, and the dark skin was burned to reveal the blood-red muscles underneath. The fire rain passed, and the Black Heart golem seemed to have fallen into a pool of hydrochloric acid. There was no good place on its body, and its flesh and blood were scorched and pitted. It was very miserable. But even so, he still didn't die. It's just that his breath was a little weaker. On the contrary, it was the unbearable pain that made the Black Heart demon even more angry. At this moment, he looked down at the two knights who fell on the ground. His scarlet and tyrannical eyes showed cruelty. If it is a group of vengeful spirits from 6,000 years ago, not only will they not be harmed by the fire rain, but they will become stronger because of it. Because it is a fake made by those miscellaneous hairs, the power is the same. But the two are different. But the things made by the original spirit of revenge will also be damaged by this super-level fire rain. He guessed that the bishop should know that he couldn't stop himself, so he wanted to kill these two vengeful spirits. However, he underestimated it too much. Not only did it fail, but it actually helped me suppress these two knights. Next, as long as you devour the spirit of revenge in these two guys, you will become stronger, and the earth will be our own too. In the distance, Father Cal, who was injured and fell to the ground, and the nuns who were injured in the first wave showed despair in their eyes. The Black Heart demon excitedly reaches out to grab the two skeletons that have been extinguished, but just when his fingertips were about to touch the two, a faint voice sounded at the entrance of the stadium. "If I were you, I wouldn't take things that don't belong to me, because you will die. 090 Dimension Invaders, die! The flat voice is not only so abrupt, but also has unimaginable domineering. A priest whose heart had already fallen into the abyss suddenly became excited. Who is it? Is there any foreign aid? But why is the voice so familiar? Father Carl turned his head tremblingly, and when he saw the figure, he was stunned, showing an unbelievable look in his eyes. How can it be? How could it be him? Not far away, the nun who also fell on the ground suddenly widened her eyes at this moment. Those memories that were modified before, all surfaced under the impact of the scene in front of me. She said in horror, "It's you. You killed the demon, not me. This is not my memory, not me. All dead, All dead. Don't dare to move. No no no, you can't look at him. At this moment, the nun is speaking incoherently, completely looking overly frightened. But listening to these words, Carl's heart was beating wildly at this moment, and he felt a creepy feeling. He noticed 3 pieces of information from the other party's words. First, the demon who was killed by this man named Donald was not a nun at all. Second, Alien's memory has been modified! What else did she see at the time, and why did she react so strongly now? That's a fighting nun, because her heart is extremely tough. Even at the moment is just despair, not fear. Carl looked at the man walking step by step with trembling pupils. His heart couldn't help trembling when he thought of testing him before. Suddenly, he thought of something and looked at Blackheart Demon again. This son of hell really didn't go to grab those 2 skeletons, but made an unprecedented defensive posture like facing a big enemy, staring at the distance. No doubt, even the Blackheart Demon feels a great threat. At this moment, Carl began to tremble uncontrollably. Who is this person? Magician Wang. The truth would be even scarier. I think it's better not to know. Quill, look at the scaring of the children. It's really pitiful. Gamera, HMPH. If you encounter this situation, you may not be able to perform as well as him. Outside the light curtain, Quill opened his mouth and found that there was really no way to refute. Swap it, and I guess I'll be scared to pee. Who are you? The Blackheart Demon asked while holding back his fear, and directly used his core strength to repair his injured body without any hesitation. In his eyes, this ordinary human who was obviously sitting in the auditorium before, at the moment came slowly with an incomprehensible sense of oppression. Faintly, it seems that a huge phantom surrounded by explosive energy appeared behind the opponent. Impossible. How can there be such a powerful existence on the earth? Thor first glanced at the state of the 2 skeletons with satisfaction, and then looked at the black demon indifferently. He didn't answer, but asked with a sneer. Didn't Mephisto warn you not to come to Earth? I thought he would only cheat other existences, but I didn't expect that the first person I saw was his son. The Blackheart Demon feels even more depressed when he hears this. Mephisto definitely warned, but I didn't listen. But that's not the point. The key point is to listen to the tone of the other party. It seems that something major has happened before, so that Mephisto will not want to come to Earth in a short time. Even bewitching other existences to come to Earth is even more vicious. But how is it possible? The Ancient One is dead. The magicians, witches, and churches left on Earth are just a bunch of rubbish. Who are you? Blackheart Demon asked again unwillingly. Thor stopped, and his body slowly floated up. At the same time, the golden light spreads upwards from the toe of the shoe, and the clothing changes shape-shifting where it passes, with golden thunder and flame symbols embroidered on it. On the ground, Carl watched the scene, and couldn't help but feel a feeling in his heart. Compare the figure in the sky to the black demon who is more than 10 stories tall. Not only does it not look small at this moment, but it brings a strong sense of oppression. At this moment, he heard a cold voice falling from the sky. Those who kill you. Sorcerer Supreme, you're Odinson. In an instant, the sound of the mirror shattering sounded. In an instant, the sky was covered with dark clouds, and the huge amounts of the stadium seemed to be cut by an unknown force. Countless squares surged by themselves, receding into the distance like a tide. During his breathing, Carl was horrified to find that the world had completely changed. Above the sky is the thunderous black clouds. Los Angeles outside the stadium has also disappeared, replaced by an endless land without a trace of ups and downs, without anything or life. Suddenly, he remembered a spell recorded in the church. Kamataj's mirror space. But is it too exaggerated? This is no longer like another space, more like another dimension. Suddenly, Carl's eyes widened suddenly, and he made a ho-ho sound. He suddenly remembered what the other party said. Sorcerer Supreme, God of the 9 Realms, Thor Odinson. This is the god of Asgard, and also Kamataj's Sorcerer Supreme. Jesus above ... I must have heard wrong. How can this be? How can this be? Outside the light curtain, King Magician showed sympathetic eyes. He just knew it. Once he knows the truth, this priest will definitely not be able to stand the excitement. After all, even now, when I think of this incident in my heart, I still feel very incredible. It can only be said that this Thor is really special. Just when the priest's cognition was shattered and he fell into a shock that he couldn't extricate himself from, Blackheart Demon makes a deafening roar. Absolutely impossible. How did the people of Asgard become the Sorcerer Supreme? Did you really think I would feel fear? Go to hell. The Blackheart Demon shook his feet on the ground forcefully, and then the ground instantly burst into depressions, and his body like a hill slammed into the small dot in the sky with a loud roar. Thor looked down and stretched out 5 fingers to the waist. Suddenly the whole space trembled. The next moment, boom, following a huge amount of muffled sound, the imposing Blackheart Demon directly crashed into an invisible space barrier. But let alone broken, there is not even a trace of shaking. The Blackheart Demon screamed directly, and fell back to the ground with a bang. The next second, he climbed up from the ground, raised his head unwillingly and opened his mouth full of fangs. Suddenly, An extremely exaggerated column of pitch-black energy pierced through the sky. Thor still stands at the original position without moving. I don't see any movement from him. There are thunderbolts as thick as buckets falling from the sky. At the same time, a huge amounts of golden magic circle appeared out of thin air. After the thunder passed by, it was divided into two into four, and the dense lightning storm instantly drowned out the black energy, and then enveloped the Blackheart demon. Before Bishop Levi dedicated all of himself to cause harm, and at the moment Blackheart screamed in the thunder. The next second, his body shrunk rapidly and returned to its normal form, completely daring not to continue to grow in size. At the same time, his body surface began to turn from black to purple, and his whole body exuded a smell of ink and the fragrance of roses. When the conversion is completed, the body of the Blackheart demon instantly disappears into a puff of black smoke, and then flashes and appears thousands of meters away. As the son of Mephisto, he definitely knows the law. This is called superdimensional teleportation. It's just time. He can only do this. As soon as he left the lightning storm, the Blackheart demon bit off his left hand without any hesitation and threw it on the ground. Suddenly, black blood flowed out as if alive, and automatically drew a sacrificed hell circle, and the sacrifice was that arm. He wants to summon the projection of Mephisto. Sacrificing one's own arm can maximize the summoning. Otherwise, the other party just summoned lightning and he couldn't support it at all. Not to mention that he didn't have to fight later. He couldn't even escape for his life. Compared to the previous trash, this person is simply a dimensionality reduction blow. And when the magic circle was formed, the Blackheart demon immediately shouted, "Father, save me." The magic circle burns up in an instant, and the summoning begins across dimensions. I saw a huge blood light shooting up into the sky, and the reflected sky looked like hell. The black-hearted demon shows joy again, asking for flowers. With the projection of my father, I can definitely defeat this sorcerer supreme and enslave the opponent's soul. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. The bloody light gradually weakened over time, until it finally disappeared, leaving only a rotten arm on the ground. The Blackheart demon's smile froze. Mephisto does not project any power at all. Chatterum. Deadpool. Ha ha ha, I laughed so hard. One called dead when something happened, Mephisto when nothing happened, and the other didn't respond at all. Tony, he is really a loving father and a filial son. Sif. HMPH, there is no family relationship between devils. Lord Mordo, exactly. Mephisto only used his son as a tool, and the Blackheart demon probably dreamed of taking his father's place. Quill, isn't this Blackheart demon dead? Professor X, in fact, from the moment he smuggled into the real dimension, his fate was already sealed. Being able to live for so long is only part of Thor's plan. And now, those two Ghost Riders are already what Thor wants. This chess piece has lost its role. Seeing these words, countless people outside the chat room showed happy eyes. Even if it is the son of the Lord of Hell who wants to die, he will die when he meets Thor. It really deserves it. At this time, there was a pity voice in the sky. I thought he could at least be interested, but it turned out that he didn't project any power at all. Waste in vain. I look forward to it. The black-hearted demon swallowed with a thud. He suddenly understood that the successful operation of the projection circle was simply due to the intention of the other party. This person is actually thinking of letting Mephisto lose part of his power by the way, so he won't be afraid of being caught. The black-heart demon suddenly widened his eyes. He suddenly understood why Mephisto had all kinds of strange behaviors before, knowing that the Ancient One was dead and didn't invade the Earth. And this guy's line at the beginning, "Didn't Mephisto warn you not to come to Earth?" Because it's not that Mephisto doesn't want to come to Earth. Instead, he has already come, and he has suffered a great loss in front of this person. At this moment, the black-heart demon cursed in his heart. Why don't you tell yourself this kind of thing? Otherwise how could he come to Earth? Is it because you are afraid that the majesty of the Lord of Hell will be swept away? Still want him to die? Good. Since you are not a father, don't blame me for being a son. The next second, he looked at the figure in the sky with a ferocious face, and shouted, "Sorcerer Supreme, I surrender. I can help you defeat Mephisto." Far away, Father Cal, who barely supported himself, staggered and fell back to the ground after hearing these words. What did he hear? That incomparably powerful demon, sons of Mephisto, not only choose to surrender, but also help the enemy to kill his father. Did I hear it wrong, or is this world too crazy? At this moment, his three views were once again severely impacted. If the Blackheart demon can hear what Cal said, then he will say no, it's just that this man in the sky is too fierce. The opponent hasn't made any effort yet, he can't even fight back. How about it? This deal is reasonable. After all, Mephisto is the greatest enemy of the Earth, and I don't have a large-scale blood sacrifice on Earth, devouring souls. He shouted again, hoping that the other party can understand the stakes. However, in the next second, a cold voice came from the sky. Invasion of reality dimension. Die. In an instant, the space was illuminated by the thunder into a palpitating white, and I could no longer see anything. The next second, a loud noise like a hong-zong da resounded. No screams. When the thunderous light disappeared, Father Karl saw a god wearing a battle armor, and the legendary Mjolnir was standing there. And the Black Heart demon has been reduced to ashes. At this moment, he knew that he would never forget this scene again in this life. 091 Devouring Power Medal. Thunder disappears, divine armor dissipates. Thor glanced at Mjolnir helplessly, then put away the hammer in his hands. I haven't used this guy much for a while, so I'm getting a little emotional. Otherwise, he wasn't going to fight melee just now. The devil is more or less stinky. At the same time, this also gave him some ideas. Perhaps I should go to Nivida to meet King Dwarf. Mjolnir should be promoted to a lower level, otherwise he will soon be unable to keep up with his own strength. Thinking casually, Thor falls back to the ground. At this time, the space in front of him suddenly opened like fish scales, revealing two ghost riders that were still in the extinguished state. Seeing this, Thor shows a satisfied look. Whether it's Johnny Blazer or this Danny Cage, he can easily catch him. But that's pointless, because he can't extract the power from the two bodies. If it's just the power of the ordinary spirit of vengeance, it's just accumulation for him, and he doesn't need it at all. However, the real power in these two bodies is completely different. Johnny Blazer's body is the vengeful spirit 360 transformed by the ancient demons it knows. And Danny Cage, this brother who was separated from Johnny since childhood, has the spirit of revenge Norbert Kyle in his body. The latter is formed by the soul of human beings, but it contains another kind of 10,000 districts. Power Medal. That is the power created before the fall of the Kingdom of Atlantis. Possess incredible power. And Zetnos and the Medallion of Strength are actually not the spirit of vengeance at all, but high-level existences of the same era and level as the original spirit of vengeance. The two of them once merged into one, but they were broken by the original vengeful spirits. If you can get the power of these two, then you will have the calendar of manipulating elements and an energy that can achieve various incredible effects. In the end, you will also get a flame that can only burn the soul, but not the body. Yes, the power of the Eye of Judgment of the Spirit of Vengeance comes from this, and the flame is not the fire of hell at all. So, these three top powers are his goal. Instead of accepting the Spirit of Vengeance, be a manic ghost rider. That's so stupid. Similarly, the most critical point of this plan is the church. The strength of these people can just achieve the effect in front of us. This is something he can't do. Definitely, this is also the reason why Johnny Blazer and Danny Cage couldn't exert the true power of the Spirit of Vengeance in their bodies. Otherwise, even if the Pope came over, it wouldn't work. As for the Black Heart Demon, this was purely an accident, but luckily it didn't spoil the plan. Outside the light curtain, Ancient One sighed. As the Sorcerer Supreme, she definitely knows the secret. That is the deepest history recorded in the library. It's just that now that this secret is made public, I'm afraid there will be countless people who will pay attention to these two people. Shit. In the dilapidated temple, Kongsu's eyes seemed to be burning with flames. He admitted that he was moved. These are three kinds of power. No matter which one you get, will greatly improve your own strength, especially the flame that can burn the soul at the end. He even had a premonition. I'm afraid that thing just happens to have a restraining effect on the gods of the Aegean pantheon. After all, they don't have entities like the Greek gods, and the Aesir. On the contrary, it is more like a high-level astral body. At this moment, Kongsu once again wondered why the other gods did not appear in the chat room. An uncontrollable anxiety surges in my heart. SHIELD. There is no luck in Nick Fury's heart at this moment. The light curtain is over. Carol must come back. He at the moment is completely predictable. There will definitely be huge amounts of turmoil on the earth. Holy place number 2. Gamera lowered her head, trying to suppress the rapid heartbeat. Such power. If you really get it, maybe you can completely compete against it. In the lonely dark deep sky, a pair of huge amounts of eyes open your eyes. He feels endless hunger, and this planet has so much power, it's sure to satisfy you when you eat it. Galaxy Earth. He remembers the location. History Stark Building. The sense of urgency in Tony's heart became more and more serious. There is no doubt that the Earth will become a dangerous place from now on, and all kinds of chaos will come. This moment, he even wondered if he should go to Kamartaj. Maybe I have the ability to learn magic. Just then, he suddenly heard Loki say, "Why, are you envious of your other self now?" Tony nodded with a wry smile. Rather than envying another self, it is more envious of having such a room in another timeline. At least these problems are all covered by this god. He can continue to live a chic life. At this moment, a strong feeling of envy arose in his heart, and then he sank into the void. In the mirror space, Thor turns his head and glances at Father Cal, who is playing dead in the distance. He still has a good sense of this person, at least much better than that nun. But that's all. The next second, he directly drove the two of them out of the space with a wave of his hand. Now, it's finally the last step. Takes a deep breath. According to the method left by Ancient One, Thor hovered and sat in midair, and began to build an extremely complicated magic circle with his hands. One way, two ways and hundreds of ways. The magic circle fully supplied by divine power presents a bright golden color, layered on top of each other, rotating in opposite directions, meshing like gears. And with more and more constructions, it looks like a golden eye appears in midair. Magician Wang, What an exaggerated magic circle. When I looked through the light curtain, I felt intense dizziness. Baron Mordo. Probably only a body like Thor can sustain it. A normal magician, even if his spirit is dozens of times stronger, cannot support this level of continuous construction, not to mention making no mistakes every step of the way. President Loki, it's not like all the brains of Thor in other timelines put together can compare to this one. Ebony Moore, I'm afraid that's true. I've never seen such a complex circle in my life. Outside the light curtain, Sif wanted to refute, but opened his mouth and couldn't say anything. Time passes by every minute and every second. When the number of layers of the magic circle reaches 9,999, Thor's hands snapped together. Suddenly, the golden eyes, which were already solid, erupted into gold threads and sank into the bodies of the two extinguished flames. Johnny and Danny trembled violently. The flames on their bodies kept flickering, but they kept going out. This process lasted for several hours. In the next second, two groups of flames wrapped in gold threads are dragged out of the black nothingness in the skeleton body. Hell dimension. Mephisto is thinking about something. But at this moment, a piece of ancient parchment suddenly appeared in front of him, and then it burned itself with a whoosh. Mephisto was stunned for a moment, and then showed a ferocious rage color, because from this moment on, one of his most important treasures, the transformed Xenos, no longer belongs to him. He could not control himself and shouted at the bloody sky, Thor Odin Sen, I will burn your soul in a lamp for 10,000 years. Hearing Rage's voice, the little ghosts and demons below trembled, not knowing what happened to the Lord of Hell. Thor was not delighted. Now only two groups of vengeance have been pulled out, and the original power contained in them must be decomposed next. At this moment, streaks of white divine power erupted from his body, and then began to seep into the flames wrapped in gold threads. Can vaguely hear bursts of thunder coming from inside. A few more hours passed. Thor opened his eyes, and this time started to create 1.9. But this time it's just a spell to manipulate energy. Thus, the power of the spirit of vengeance, which has been corroded to a certain extent by Thor's divine power, began to be stripped away little by little. This process is even longer, and it took 3 days and 3 nights to stop. However, with Thor's Protoss physique, I didn't feel tired. And at the moment, as the last bit of vengeful spirit's power was stripped away, a grey-white demon slate fell to the ground, and a red energy stayed on top of it. Another group of vengeance spirit flames also dissipated. It was replaced by a coin file size, with medals with streaks of stripes floating in the air. See here, Thor is not in hesitation. A thunderbolt erupted from his body and engulfed the red energy, and a flame melted the metal. Then flame and thunder returned to his body with two kinds of energy. At this very moment, an incomparably powerful breath erupted from his body. The space shook suddenly. It seemed that it could not bear it and was about to shatter. 092 Huge Harvest. An indescribably powerful breath erupted from Thor, which is completely different from the original divine power. He slowly floated into the air, slowly opened his arms, and his eyes glowed. In an instant, an incredible change appeared behind him. A water polo that keeps changing shape. A cloud of tumbling flames. A great tornado spinning chaos. A handful of soil that is constantly solidifying but constantly decomposing. Earth, fire, feng shui, the 4 elements that build the foundation of the world, rotate slowly behind him. This is the power from the power medal. The next second, silver flames overflowed from his eyes. This is not the flame controlled by Vulcan. It is the fire of judgment from Xenos. It cannot cause harm to flesh and blood, but it can cause terrifying damage to all souls, wills, and spirits, especially sin. Even more like fire cooking oil. From now on, this will be a real divine punishment. But it's not over yet. At this moment, a new mysterious force appeared between the fire of God's punishment and the power of the 4 elements. That is the ability brought by Xenos and the Medal of Strength integrate. Thor took a careful perception, and there is more than one kind of ability. Includes superdimensional teleportation, controlling one's own file size, energy impact, super strength, astral projection, and controlling will. Thor didn't expect to have an unexpected surprise. Superdimensional teleportation means that he can cross dimensions and enter other Dimension 18 worlds. And controlling the file size and matching the original body will become more powerful. As for super strength, his original strength is exaggerated. I don't know how exaggerated it will be under the blessing. He guessed that if it cooperates and becomes huge, it may be very scary. As for the other 3 abilities, in his opinion, they are just icing on the cake. Astral projection he has learned in Camartage. Now it just makes the soul more solid. Manipulating the will is a bit tasteless. The strong ones can't be affected, and the weak ones don't really need it. Energy shock. Well, it can only be said that there is an additional attack method. But it doesn't matter. The 4 elemental manipulations and God's fire of punishment have powerful powers, which have already made him very satisfied. The next second, Thor's mind moved to retract all the visions, releasing the mirror space. He then gave Phil Coulson a gold coin as a reward for this time. He doesn't like to owe favors. 1 shot is enough to be worth this help. Then directly returned to Camartage. In the next period of time, What he has to do is to practice constantly to fully control these new powers. Definitely, it is also necessary to help that little girl every night. It's just that the other party's eyes look more and more strange, and I don't know what my mother taught them. At this time, the thunder rang, the golden light curtain dimmed, and the blue returned. Loki falls into nothingness, Bifrost breaks and needs to be repaired. Thor, who is in a very sad mood, can only stay in God's domain for a while. Such a year passes quickly. On this day, Heimdall suddenly told Thor that he saw Loki. The other party not only did not die, but instead appeared that the earth controls human beings and despises the chaos of war. Thor came alive immediately, located Loki's location, and directly used Bifrost to arrest him. Jane Foster, so Bifrost was actually fixed then? Then why didn't you come before? Loki, I guess he'll say I forgot. Thor, listen to me, Jane. It's true, I did forget, no lie. Tony, as expected of you. Wrong answer. This time I think it's really over. Jane, oh, you forgot about me, right? Goodbye. No, never again. Thor, no, I mean I forgot to fix Bifrost. Darcy Lewis, well, Thor, I think you'd better stop saying that. My 3-year-old cousin knows it's a lie. Outside the light curtain, Thor was sweating profusely. He didn't understand how it was so difficult when he got on his side. Thor finds it too difficult. He caught Loki, but it turned out that the other party did it on purpose. On the contrary, because of this, the opponent almost caused a disaster, and almost let the Hulk destroy the space carrier. Fortunately, the ending is good. Although the Chitauri army invaded, they were finally defeated by all the heroes, and the road base was also brought back to Asgard after being hammered by the Hulk. Quill, Chitauri? I remember this isn't Thanos' subordinate. He actually attacked the Earth. Ebony Maw, the Great Dark Titan is nothing more than fulfilling Loki's wishes. You are mistaken. Loki, definitely the premise is that I need to bring him Tesseract. Oh, and maybe it should be called the Space Gem. Outside the light curtain, the major cosmic forces are not surprising. Not to mention invading Earth for a powerful infinite gems. Even if there is nothing, is there still less work done to destroy the pot? Ebony Maw, it seems our giants of Jotunheim has a new idea. Loki, I just don't think you guys have the guts to send the army straight to Earth right now. Maybe you can try after Sorcerer Supreme is dead and Father Odin. Ebony Maw, I hope the next time I see you, you're still this tough. Loki the ice giant. Thor, his name is Loki Odinson. And the next time we meet, I'll blow your dog's head off. Holy place number 2. There was coldness in Thanos' eyes. In his capacity, he will definitely not go to the chat room to talk about it. But when he gets the Power Stone, he will not leave that half of mercy to Earth and Asgard. The war ended. Thor took Loki back to Asgard and sent it to God. Definitely, this is more like just captivity. Prison rooms, food, and books are all very luxurious. Thor is not idle either. There is a war in Jotunheim, and he is needed to counter the rebellion. When he returns again, Odin intends to make him the God King. It's just that at this time Thor said that he was not ready yet, so he chose to refuse. At this time, because the 9 realms convergence once every 9,000 years is about to begin, the world tree begins to experience slight turmoil. Many space gaps are no longer stable. Thor's girlfriend Jane accidentally fell into another planet during an investigation, and was invaded by type particles sealed here by Asgard. Holy place number 2. Thanos' eyes froze instantly. Type particles? This is clearly the reality gem. Unexpectedly, this thing has been sealed by the Asgard people. But this is the future. Maybe I can plan ahead. Soon, Thor brought Jane back to Asgard, and successfully extracted the type particles in Jane's body by using the haste of God's domain. But at this moment, the Dark Elves also escaped from the Dark Land due to the turmoil at the intersection of the 9 worlds, and at the moment launched an attack on Asgard. When attacking, Loki, who didn't know why and the opportunity to escape came, and even took the initiative to guide the invaders in the prison. Finally, Asgard was attacked inside and outside at the same time. Due to voluntarily waking up from divine sleep before, Odin's strength is not as good as before. Thor's combat power is not invincible. So in this battle, countless Asgardians were killed and injured, type particles were robbed, and Frigga died behind him. Stark building. Loki's face was pale, trembling all over, and his body was completely drenched in cold sweat, as if he had just been fished out of the water. He gave himself a sharp mouth, then wept bitterly, and then burst out laughing. Like a madman. Fine. It's a good thing that none of this happened, and it's a good thing that I haven't caused a catastrophe. At this moment, he was extremely grateful for this light curtain. Chatroom. President Loki, back then, if only I could have seen this. Thor, this time, I will not let the Dark Elves have a chance to come out of the 060 Dark Land again. The Grandfather's seal back then was too merciful. This group of dregs of the universe should die completely. Hogan, my sword is thirsty. Fandral, we will follow you to the death. Sif, for the glory of Asgard. Loki, count me in, kill them all and lock me up. Heimdall, Bifrost has been repaired, and the stored energy can destroy a third of the Darklands. Loki, I'm looking forward to that scene. Outside the light curtain, those who are pulled into the chat room can feel the anger of these Asgardians at this moment. If there is no accident, after the light curtain is over, you can see an interstellar level war. Soon, the Dark Elves came to the intersection point of the Earth, intending to use TIE particles to make the universe dark forever. Thor came to Earth at the cost of Loki's death. Eventually, with the help of a big fight and Jane's science team, the moment was finally stopped. On the beach by the sea, Thor's body was revealed. Mother is dead. Brother is dead. Is this the incompetent self of the future? Although he successfully prevented the disaster, at this moment he felt that he was a waste. At this time, the light curtain of the blue thunder dimmed, and the golden color reappeared. Camartage. At the moment, 3 months have passed since the new power was acquired. In the holy place, Thor, sitting cross-legged in the void, opened his eyes, and a flash of divine light flickered away. For 3 full months, he finally controlled all these powers, but this is not the end. Next, we need to verify and practice the strength of the strength. To put it simply, it is to find someone to practice with. Thor briefly thought about it, and soon thought of a suitable unlucky guy. He remembered that his grandfather Bull had sealed the Dark Elf in the Dark Land. This must be the arrangement of fate. I hope they are not dead yet. 093 Inflict terror, the Dark Land. Thor walked out from the holy place and came all the way to the training ground. Under the porch, he saw Luoj in the crowd at a glance. Modu Magician is teaching very hard on the top, and this guy is also very happy to paddle below. Thor shakes his head. After thinking for a while, he went straight up and came to the side of Modu Magician. The latter stopped immediately, dispersed the magic circle, and bowed respectfully. Does your lord have any instructions? Thor nodded. 1. You go down first, I'll take care of this one. Your majesty has worked hard. They will feel honored. Modu sighed with emotion, and tuned to the edge. Below, Luoj is standing with her back straight and serious, with a few drops of sweat on her forehead, looking very focused. But she's already numb in her heart. She is sure that she was caught by Thor for stealing just now. If you can't say it for a while, this guy will punish himself righteously by destroying his relatives. However, unlike him, more than 80 magician apprentices on at the moment training ground are very excited. Sorcerer Supreme personally taught. This is something that I dare not even dream of. The next second, everyone saw Thor move. Just a simple step forward. Suddenly the sound of the mirror shattering sounded. The ground began to expand rapidly. The houses split and shape-shifting receded to both sides. The mountain peaks fell towards the sky, and the space was crazily folded. Huge stones rose from the ground. In a blink of an eye, a giant arena that seemed to be built for ancient giants replaced the original Camartage. The world was completely transformed in just a few seconds. All the magician apprentices were dumbfounded in this scene. Where have they seen this kind of spell? Many people turned their heads to look at Modu Magician, and found that the latter's face was also full of shock. Modu is really shocked at this moment. He never knew the power of this new Sorcerer Supreme. But I didn't expect that the other party would build such an astonishing mirror image space just by taking a step on the ground. This kind of manipulation of space. Don't say it's too far behind. He didn't even think that he would be able to do this. At this moment, a voice suddenly came from the crowd. Someone discovered that Sorcerer Supreme was missing. Mordo woke up like a dream, but after looking around, he also couldn't find Thor. But the person is gone. How can I learn? Just then, a thunderclap sounded. Everyone looked up and found that the black clouds in the sky were rolling like huge waves, as if there was something terrifying inside. In an instant, a strong anxiety, or a movement from the soul appeared in everyone's heart. Boom. The tower is extremely clear, and the silver lightning that grows rapidly like a branch occupies the entire sky. The terrifying heavenly power and destructive aura made everyone suffocate. The next second, when the lightning disappeared, the space shook for a moment. Everyone who just wanted to breathe is completely frozen like a statue at this moment. I saw that the dark clouds in the sky began to stir, and a large face that occupied half of the sky and was completely made of thunder came out of the clouds. That's so huge, with an unimaginable sense of oppression. Under the sky, all around, everyone's inner thoughts are completely crushed, unable to speak, unable to think. At this time, the space trembled a bit. An equally indescribably huge thunder arm pierced through the clouds, spread its 5 fingers, and grabbed it downwards like the sky. In an instant, extreme fear appeared in everyone's heart. Will die. Definitely will die. However, my heart is still roaring wildly, but my feet seem to take root. Until the giant hand that can only see the palm prints of thunder covered the dual field, everyone was already desperate. But at this moment, Thunder's giant hand paused, and then suddenly dissipated. At this moment, everyone felt an indescribable feeling in their hearts, and tears flowed down uncontrollably. That is the touch of being alive. Modu stares blankly at this scene. So, is this the real power of this Sorcerer Supreme? I can't understand how big it should be. At that moment, he felt that there was no difference between himself and those magician apprentices. At this point Thor reappears in midair. He glanced at the pale Luoj, and then his voice echoed throughout the dueling arena. How do you feel about the great horror of death? No one answered, but the expression has answered everything. No one wants to go through it again. Thor sneered at this moment. Don't want to? But the weak don't have the right to choose. Your life doesn't even belong to you. Everyone's face was pale, but they couldn't refute it. In the crowd, Liu Oji's eyes are red. She knows that what Thor did today is actually for herself. Once, twice. Do I really want to let my brother down? No, never again. In 1500, if you don't make any changes, you may really never have the chance to be with the other person again. How can a little snake stand beside the dragon? In the sky, Thor took a deep look at his sister. Then with a wave of one hand, 86 portals appeared in front of all magician apprentices at the same time. Modu's heart misses a beat again. If the moment just now was a display of strength, then this moment is the ultimate spellcasting manipulation. 86 portals in a flash, and I'm afraid it's not the limit. Is this really consistent with the principle of casting spells? Unintelligible. At this moment, all he can do is look up. At this time, one after another sling ring flew out from the portal and landed in front of all the magician apprentices. Thor's voice sounds at the same time. Modu magician, teach them the portal spell next. My strength will always maintain this space. Only the magician apprentice who has learned the portal will return to Kamatage by himself, and no one will help. Modu didn't have any objection, and nodded to express that he would obey the order. If you do this from the beginning, most of the magician apprentices will feel uneasy and feel that they can't do it. But at this moment, no one objected, and everyone's expression was determined. Today, they saw the great terror between life and death, and likewise, they also saw the power of Sorcerer Supreme. That kind of power is like a god. Thor didn't say anything, and didn't tell Liu Oji, just summoned the necessary water and food with one hand, and left after stabilizing the mirror space. He's not in a good mood right now, and he just happens to vent his anger on those unlucky dark elves. Asgard. The blue light flickered for a while, and you gathered like particles. In the garden, Odin, who happened to see this scene, was a little surprised. Why, I haven't seen him for a few months. The teleportation spell of my eldest son has a taste of breaking through dimensions. It seems that going to Earth was really a correct choice. Why are you back? Don't you need to look at Kamatage? Odin asked with a smile. Thor shakes his head. If something serious happens, King Magician will call me. Stop talking. I have something to ask my father when I come back this time. At this time, Odin noticed that his son was in a bad mood, and immediately frowned and said, "Are you in trouble?" That's not true. Thor didn't go around and said directly, "Father, do you know where the dark place where the dark elves hide?" Odin nods. Yes, but I don't recommend you deal with them. They were born in darkness, and their three views and human nature are completely different from the normal races in the universe. Their lifelong wish is to bring the universe to darkness. Can't recruit them, and can't use fear to make them succumb, let alone cooperate. Thor shook his head slightly, said, "It's just a group of dead men. No communication is needed." Under the root of the world tree, a corner that cannot be connected to the land of the underworld. This is a completely pitch-black empty star field, and there is only a barren Death Star in the solitude, revealing a huge and hideous wound faintly. On the planet, in the cracks like an abyss, several cross-shaped interstellar warships are hidden in it. Thousands of dark elves are sleeping in the spaceship. Back then, they used type particles to plunge the universe into darkness with the help of the 9 realms, but unfortunately they were defeated by the Protoss. Fortunately, I finally used the passage where the 9 realms meet, and escaped from the remaining clansmen when it was about to close. Otherwise, the entire army would have been wiped out at the beginning. But escaping here is also a kind of imprisonment. Their spaceship does not have the power to leave this dead star field, so they can only wait for the next meeting of the 9 realms' celestial bodies. Boom! Suddenly a violent vibration appeared, as if the spaceship embedded in the abyss was also affected and shook. In the black and red life support cabin, the head of the Dark Elves, Malekith, wakes up from his deep sleep. Occurrence of a shock. Is it the start of another 9 realms convergence? Okay, it seems that the time for our Dark Elves' revenge has come. He came to the cockpit of the spaceship with excitement, and frowned immediately after checking through the host. There are still more than 2 years before the intersection of the 9 realms. The time and space shrouded by the world tree shouldn't be shaking at this time. However, there is not much time left. At the moment can wake up the clansmen and make some preparations in advance. Just a few minutes later, the engines of the 4 warships started simultaneously. They are going to the surface of the planet. The abyss is not suitable for any training. Accompanied by huge amounts of roaring sounds, warships flew out of huge amounts of cracks one by one. At this time, the siren suddenly sounded in the cabin. The detection system of the spaceship has captured traces of life. Malekith looks puzzled. Pregnant. This is a dead star. How could life exist? At this moment, the image captured by the spaceship is projected on the screen. Malekith looked and saw that there were 2 humanoid creatures floating in the air. As the screen zooms in, he can clearly see the faces of the 2. At the same time, I also feel 2 cold eyes falling on me. Oh, 9-4 level Godfather. In an instant, an extreme feeling of creepiness appeared in the heart of this dark elf leader. Malekith shouted without hesitation, Secondary gun locked and fired. Main gun storage. Give me quick. Listening to the leader's roaring order, although the Dark Elves in the bridge didn't understand, they still quickly executed the order. In an instant, the 4 black warships lit up in red, and densely packed saturated energy cannons were launched. On the screen, all the Dark Elves can see that the 2 figures floating in the air are still motionless, as if they are false phantoms. Next second, the dark sky is completely illuminated. Continuously violent explosions create a raging sea of flames in midair, and the terrifying shockwave constantly spreads in all directions. But it's not over yet. The charged main gun is fired now. The 4 crimson energy rays made a palpitating scream, and instantly submerged into the flames. Then, in the next second, even in space, you can see the horror scene appearing. The crimson light almost illuminates the northern half of the entire planet. The 4 superimposed red suns are rapidly expanding at a terrifying speed, devouring everything around them crazily. In the main ship that has retreated hundreds of kilometers, the Dark Elf adjutant looked at the explosion on the screen and asked in puzzlement, "Boss, isn't this too wasteful?" "As you know, there is not much energy left in the spaceship." Malachus shakes his head. However, at the moment's 4 main guns hit the target area, which relieved his nervous heart a lot. 747. He breathed a sigh of relief. "Trust me, Amicus, my 6th sense will never lie to me." Those 2 creatures floating in midair are absolutely terrifying things. Hearing this, the Dark Elves present tensed up at the same time. They definitely trust the leader, and the other party retreated decisively back then, otherwise they would not have survived. However, with the bombardment of the 4 main cannons, even the soul will not be spared, and even the most terrifying things will be reduced to ashes. There is no need to continue to worry about it. This Dark Elf's thoughts are not over yet. The red explosion on the screen has disappeared. However, the night sky does not return to darkness. The 2 human figures are still hovering in place, and have not received any damage from Yifu. At this moment, an unimaginable horror appeared in the hearts of all the Dark Elves. "I can't understand what kind of monster this is." And at this moment, a figure on the screen turned his head slowly, and stopped when the angle of view was right on the screen. The next second, 2 groups of flames suddenly erupted in each other's eyes, rippling along the corners of the eyes. In an instant, all the Dark Elves felt a strong feeling of being watched, and a penetrating coolness penetrated the brain from the tailbone. The soul seems to be stared at by a terrifying demon. Falling into unprecedented panic, the 4 battleships fell into a deathly silence. "Quill, guys, let's be honest. I can, Biff, feel the fear of these people through the screen. Are they Hong Kong people? Gamera, is this ... is this what it's really like to be Thor's enemy?" "Rocket, to be honest, I don't want to experience this perspective again. I almost pissed on Groot just now when Thor looked over." "Groot, Groot, rockets, he said he was almost grounded." "Tony, it's really vivid ... well, I mean it's really scary. I almost had a heart attack just now." "President Loki, anyway, I will never go to that timeline in my life." Outside the light curtain, there are not many people who feel this way at this moment, especially Kong-Su, who exists as a similar astral body. From that angle of view just now, it was as if Thor took a look, and his whole body felt a numbness of the skull locked by a natural enemy. In short, you must not be an enemy with this kind of person. Dark battleship. On the bridge, Malkith suddenly saw the person on the screen raise his hand, spread 5 fingers, slowly shrink them little by little, and close them. In an instant, as the Dark Elf King, his eyes widened, and the spiritual alarm in his heart was almost screaming. He already understood what was going to happen, pressed the fleet's full channel, and yelled crazily, "Abandon ship! Everyone abandon ship! Escape!" The ear-piercing siren sounded, and Malkith's almost crazy roar echoed in the 4 battleships. Some Dark Elves are still in shock, and a small number of Dark Elves have changed their faces wildly, rushing towards the escape channel. Until 5 seconds later, those who did not escape from the spaceship have no chance, and those Dark Elves who escaped from the spaceship all saw such a picture. Countless mud rocks rise from the ground. The sea of fire takes shape from the void. The violent tornado falls from the sky. Giant waves are created out of nothing. In a blink of an eye, a 1,000-meter-high mountain giant covered in flames condensed, holding a huge wind blade transformed into a tornado in one hand, and a trident transformed into a huge wave in the other. 2 unimaginable giant weapons just swept left and right. 4 nearly kilometer-long warships were easily chopped into pieces like fragile toys. Just when everyone is still shocked, angry, and terrified, even when they are tearing their scalps like crazy, as if mortals offended the gods, the sky rained fire. Boom boom boom. Blocks of flames fell to the ground and exploded like a firework. Malachus kept dodging, but saw the heart-piercing screams of the Dark Elves contaminated by flames. However, what made him feel horrified and weird was that the bodies of these compatriots did not burn, but instead, their eyes rapidly carbonized, and hot sparks spewed out. It's as if the body is being burned crazily. Unstoppable. Can't dodge. It can't be extinguished either. In the end, you will definitely die. Malachus despaired for a moment, let out a strong and unwilling roar, and fell into complete madness. Why is this happening? Who are you? Who are you? At this moment, he knew that the Dark Elves were completely finished. Outside the light curtain, countless people showed fearful and shocking eyes. In this timeline, the Dark Elves are obviously very powerful. Not only did they almost destroy Asgard, but they also killed the Queen of God, Frigg, and grabbed the TIE particles. But here, obviously, the distance is hundreds of kilometers away. Add that Thor just lightly shook hands, and the Dark Elves suffered a completely irresistible catastrophe. Didn't even see the face of the enemy clearly. Mid-air, Odin looked at this scene with great admiration. He didn't expect that in less than half a year, Thor would grow to such an extent. The Dark Elves don't even have a chance to fight back, and it will be history in a few days. This is no longer gratification and surprise that can be described. With Thor here, Asgard will surely enter an era of power, which is unmatched by myself. But at this moment, he heard Thor say, "Father, follow me into space." Odin nodded. Although he felt a little strange, he still listened to his son unconditionally. A few seconds later, the two were floating in the dark space. As for the harsh environment of the vacuum, they can completely ignore it. At this moment, Handing saw Thor stretching out his palm and aiming at Lee of the planet. His heart skipped a beat, and an expression of disbelief and anticipation appeared on his face. The next second, the dark universe is illuminated. A terrifying energy shock entwined with thunder and flames erupted from the front of Thor's palm, and wherever it passed, even the space was turbulent. It is a full 100 meters thick, easily sinking into the Earth's crust. A few seconds later, no sound is heard and passed into space. There is no abnormality either. This death planet, which is generally smaller than the Earth, exploded suddenly like that, splitting into countless fragments and flying towards the four sides of the universe. Outside the light curtain, countless people stared at this scene completely stunned, completely unable to understand what kind of power can do this. I feel the unprecedented power of the gods in my heart, and it has been shocked to the point where it cannot be added. And this moment, for beings like Thanos, Ancient One, Kong Zu, Odin, fighting swords, etc. They know what it means. The man in the light curtain, Thor Odinson, now definitely stepping into level Godfather. 095 Wanda, I want a baby tilde. Add, the scene of the destruction of the planet is deeply imprinted in everyone's mind at this moment. The so-called super strong is only 1 in a billion after all, and most of them are fragile lives. And this moment, when this extreme power picture appears, that brought a strong shock from the soul. It is the depression of suddenly realizing how small I am, and feeling no different from the ants and insects outside. Chatroom, Richard, the imagery of this power, which I have only seen in Miss Marvel's theoretical models, is incredible. Maria Rambo, but I can't do it at all. Professor X, maybe only Doctor Strange at that time, but he was too polluted. Baron Mordo, HMPH, that's not his power. Check out this Thor. He understands the nature of seeking power, rather than stuffing manic vengeful spirits into his handle. Black Bolt King, but speaking of it, the power contained in Zetnos and the power medal is too terrifying. After all, there are Inhumans who can control elements, but they are not even 1,000th of Thor's. Secret guest, HMPH, is that comparable? Thor's manipulation of the earth, fire, feng shui elements is essentially the basis for prying the world's rules. And your so-called Inhumans, even my mutant compatriots, are actually just using the power of elements. There is an essential difference between the two. Quill, although I can't understand it, it feels so strong. Magician Wang, although the power is strong, but in my opinion it depends on who uses it. I have a feeling ... the same power. If someone else, it is definitely not as powerful as Thor. No one in the chat room refuted it, and they all acquiesced to this sentence. SHIELD. Nick Fury at the moment turned pale, although Thor's current promotion to power is more due to the fact that he was originally about to get there. But the power inside Johnny Blazer and Danny Cage is also far stronger than imagined. Earth Fire Feng Shui, God's Fire of Punishment, and various mysterious abilities. At this moment, he can fully imagine how chaotic the Earth will be after the light curtain ends. In the deep space of the universe, when everything in front of you is turned into darkness, Odin couldn't help using his divine power to make a sound, and sighed. I didn't expect you to be able to do this. After you fulfill your appointment with Ancient One, it's time to return to God's domain to take over the position of God King. When the time comes, your name will be on September 2nd. No. Odin shook his head and said with certainty, your name of Thor will be spread throughout the universe, and Asgard will honor you at that time. Thor withdraws his hand. He has no ridiculous modesty. But looking at the dark deep space, the sight penetrates everything, as if seeing a huge amounts of phantom. I don't know if it's to myself, Odin, or another existence, but said calmly and firmly, that's just the starting point. The goal I'm going for is the higher place. Odin didn't speak, but felt a strong shock in his heart. At this moment, there is only one thought in his heart. In the history of the Azeprotos, no one will be able to compare with Thor, including myself. The most important thing is that terrible cycle. Maybe there is a chance to break it this time. Chatroom, Halo, terrible cycle. Odin, what is that? Surti, what cycle? Shouldn't it be me who is the scariest? Add, Thor, Further, Asgard has other enemies besides the trash-like flame giant, Odin. No, it's not the same timeline. It should just be a problem over there, Thor. Then there's nothing to worry about. Surty, well, I must bring Ragnarok to Asgard. FK, brother, can you have some new lines? Surty, next time for sure. Pantheon. Zeus narrowed his eyes slightly at what Odin said. Not quite right. Odin is usually so good at pretending that he doesn't say a word in the chat room. Why did you suddenly explain it this time? There is definitely something wrong here. But no matter how hard he thought, he couldn't think of anything that would frighten Odin. This made him feel even weirder. In the shadow of the World Tree, 5 huge amounts of figures sit on the throne. They are also in the chat room. While looking at Odin's words, a voice suddenly sounded. I didn't expect him to find us. Perhaps it was when I learned the runes of Luni in the Fountain of Wisdom. These people are hiding very deeply. It doesn't matter, he is afraid, and they can only be afraid. Makes sense. After a few short sentences, the shadows returned to calm again. Asgard. Thor did not return directly to Midgard. At this time, the light curtain returned to darkness. Everyone who watched this scene was not surprised. After all, Thor has done this every time he wears his mark on Wanda before. Anyway, the screen will be fast-forwarded. Usually after a few minutes it will be the next day. In the bedroom. As soon as he entered the door, Thor was slightly taken aback, because Wanda, who was sitting on the chair, was no longer wearing Midgard's clothes this time, but fairy clothes, colorful veils, white dresses, and fuzz never-fading garlands on her head. The corners of the eyes and the cheeks are painted with a touch of Joffre. To be honest, Thor originally thought this little witch was pretty, but what she was wearing didn't fit his aesthetics. But now, this fairy dress, I have to say, not only looks more beautiful, but also improves her temperament by more than one level. The charm of the witch and the youth of a fairy made him unable to bear to take a few more glances. Wanda felt the lingering gaze, and while she was delighted, she couldn't help but feel shy. I can't help but recall what happened this afternoon again. At that time, not long after Thor returned, the Queen of God, who couldn't hide her surprise and shock, came to him. The other party has only one request. As Thor becomes more and more powerful, it will become more and more difficult to have children. So, I hope that I can bring the next Prince of the God King to Asgard as soon as possible. At the same time, the other party also stated, in Thor's future, it is impossible to have only one wife. I hope I can understand. At that time, Wanda's mind was numb after hearing these words. However, without much thought, she nodded shyly. When Thor saved herself from hell before, she decided to repay him with her whole life, and the request of at the moment divine revelation even made her heart happy. It is already a great fortune to be one of Thor's wives. This is her pleasure. At this time, the sound of sitting down next to him sounded. Awakening Shida, who was already dizzy. Thor didn't say anything, and naturally held the girl's soft palm. The next second, he and Wanda appear in the pure white world at the same time. I'll try the new flame, maybe it should have a miraculous effect. 1. If you feel pain, tell me immediately, Thor asked with a serious face. But having said that, he thinks there should be no problem. God's fire of punishment is completely controlled by him, not just the user. His will is higher than the attributes of flame originally. Wanda nodded obediently, expressing herself. The next second, the fire of God's punishment spread from his hand to Wanda's body, and then decomposed countless filament-like flames that extended to the stone tablet marked by black magic. For a moment, like cooking oil on fire, the steles covered with dense black symbols are distorted, as if they are enduring great pain. Then a very obvious change appeared. The symbol starts to peel off and disappears after being burned into green smoke. Thor looks satisfied when he sees this. First, his current strength has made a qualitative leap compared to before. Although it was originally only one step away from this power, I don't know how many existences were stuck in that step. Now even if he is the original Shinhu-Oh, he will be more effective than before. Second, God's fire of punishment is obviously not only for evil, but also extremely harmful to souls, and it is also very restrained against curses, imprints. Even evil. So, it's easy to handle. Thor glanced at Wanda's body, and after finding nothing abnormal, he increased the output of God's fire of punishment. A few hours later, the steel marked by black magic shattered with a sound, turning into grey-white slag all over the place. Black magic dimension. Huge amounts of rages roar from the shadowy abyss. Thor Odin Sen. How dare you take away my Scarlet Witch? Thousands of years, 10,000 years, 100,000 years, I will definitely kill you. In the room, Thor and Wanda opened their eyes at the same time. Looking at the girl's tangled eyes, Thor thought she was still afraid, and smiled and comforted. Asking for flowers. Well, from today onwards, you are completely free. The black magic mark has completely disappeared, and you no longer have to worry about Element N being able to manipulate you. Actually, it is not completely free, because eliminating the mark in this way is also the process of him controlling Wanda's will. Just like what the Goddess of Fate said at the time, it's just a change of controller. However, he will never control Wanda. He doesn't bother to do that, and he won't do that. But at this moment, Thor found that Wanda did not let go of his grip. Then the girl asked weakly, "Then will you come to my room again?" Thor blinks his eyes. "This sounds strange." "Definitely not," he replied. Hearing that Wanda is even more entangled, if she doesn't come here in the future, she feels that she really has no chance at all. For a split second, she made a decision in her heart, exerted a little force on her hand, then gritted her teeth and said, "At yen %." Thor's eyes widened slightly. "It's amazing. At my own level, I didn't understand what this sentence said. It's Scarlet Witch." Seeing this, Wanda's face turned red sharply, and she said in a louder voice, "Prince Thor, I want to to. What do you want?" "It's okay for you to say it." Thor was not stingy. "I want a child." Wanda yelled loudly. Her eyes were already so ashamed that she almost lost sight of her eyes. Thor's expression suddenly looks like a lightning strike. "Child child? Did you hear me right?" However, he is mentally strong. He soon recovered, and smiled helplessly. "Wanda, you don't have to be like this. I saved you, not for you to pay back. Your personality, your body, and your soul belong only to you, and you are free." Hearing this, Wanda's eyes instantly turned red. It was an indescribable touch. "But I really want this thing too." She's embarrassed to say this. After thinking about it, she decides not to hide it from Thor. "Actually, in fact, the Queen of God also wants you to inherit the heir." She said that as you become stronger and stronger, it will become more and more difficult to give birth to heirs. And after reaching a certain level of strength, once you succeed at that time, the child may also take away your strength, and in the worst case, it may cause a downgrade. Thor frowned. This is indeed a problem. But Asgard has its own inheritance. It is impossible not to leave an heir in the future, and it is impossible for father to give himself a younger brother or sister at his age. However, he still doesn't want to use this kind of thing to coerce Wanda, although this little witch does belong to his aesthetic. Seeing that Thor hasn't agreed yet, the sky is finally in a hurry. She lowered her head, not daring to look into Thor's eyes, firmly held the other's hand, whispered, "Actually, actually, I think about it too." Thor was taken aback, looking at the girl's completely blushing cheeks and fair neck with a faint crimson color. He suddenly laughed out of his heart. It seems that the one who struggled and flinched was himself. "This is really not in line with my personality." The next second, he resisted the girl and walked deep into the room. Amidst the girl's joyful exclamation, "I am also very strong now, and it will probably take a long time to give birth to an heir." "Little witch, you have to be mentally prepared." Wanda took more than 10 seconds to react, and couldn't help but exclaim, "R? R. No words for a night. The next day, Thor returned to Kamar-Taj, and Wanda stayed in Asgard. Definitely. The identity is also completely different. The residence, elf maids, clothes, and bedroom are all in accordance with the new standard. God Empress Frigga held the girl's hand in the garden and wouldn't let go, smiling from ear to ear. Odin saw that Wanda also looked like a mortal old man, with a kind smile on his face, not like a god at all. However, these light curtains did not appear. When the lights came back on, it was the afternoon of the next day. It's just that when Thor appeared on the screen reading the magic book again, everyone felt that the other's temperament had changed. Not bad, just hard to say. It feels like some B is stronger. 096 Darkness Invades. Library. Thor feels that at the moment is in better shape than ever. The spirit is relaxed but very energetic. The mind is clearer than when I just obtained the priesthood of wisdom and completely expelled that layer of Tuel. Even, he felt that his body, which had undergone a qualitative change, had grown slightly. At the moment, facing the dimensional magic in the book, he also has a new way of thinking. The same magic, can I replace the corresponding dimensional energy with divine power? If not, what steps need to be modified? The effect of magic is there. But it is also possible, like 5 + 5 = 104 + 6. I only have 5 years to represent Kamar-Taj, and these dimensional magic should not be wasted. As for the ones that don't need to pay, almost all of them have been learned by him. Most of the rest are very weak and completely useless spells, which are not worth paying attention to. Hearing these heartfelt voices, sweat dripped from King Magician's forehead. Terrible. 440. In half a year, I have learned almost all low-level spells other than dimensional magic. And now I have to study using my own divine power to use the dimensional magic that must pay the price. This guy's other strengths are exaggerated enough. If he can do this again, he may be close to Agamotto in terms of magic attainment. As for exceeding, he thought it impossible. After all, that great god created time spells even in addition to his current identity as a dimension Mephisto. It is estimated that it will be difficult for such a person to appear again in the world unless Thor also develops a new system. But as soon as he had this thought in his heart, he was shocked again. What if this is Thor after all? A most special Thor. Vega Galaxy, Cador Starfield. This is a planet that has just been cleaned by blood and fire, and half of the population died in massacres. Following a blue light, the extermination room arrived at the holy place. Ebony Moore has been waiting for a long time, while kneeling down to receive the twin blades of destruction. he said reverently. "Oh no, there is new news from the other side of the earth." Thanos took off his helmet, said lightly, "Go on." Ebony Maw said with an excited tone. Lu laughed. "Master, Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One is dead." Thanos paused suddenly, bowed his head with extremely oppressive eyes and said, "You should know what will happen if you get fake news." Ebony Maw lowered his head and said, "Already verified again. Kamar-Taj has indeed changed to a new Sorcerer Supreme. Ancient One's death is no longer a secret." Thanos suddenly showed emotion in his eyes. "Died. Finally dead. How many years have I been waiting?" Quill, I remember not long ago that Ebony Maw said he was helping Loki. Now it seems like a complete lie. The Legion of Darkness has been eyeing Earth for a long time. Hela, HMPH. The Tesseract doesn't belong to Midgard at all. The weaker get the treasure, it will only attract the slaughter of the robbers. Ronan, hee. The current Asgard is not doing any better. The video of the Dark Elves has been exposed just now. Odin, who broke the sleep in advance, is so weak that even Malekith can't solve it. Your Thor is nothing but trash. Surti, you are right. Quill, dude flame giant, have you figured out these 4 words after holding it in for so long? Thor, if the Kree Empire wants to start a war, Asgard will accompany it to the end. See if you can do the same as the Dark Elves can use the 9 realms to sneak attack. Ronan, hee. How could it be that the Supreme Intelligence no longer allows the Kree to wage war? We are now a peaceful race. Add, Thor, Heimdall will watch you. Outside the light curtain. Ronan gritted his teeth when he said this. If it wasn't for that bitch Carol, the space gem would have been his own back then. It's not like now. You still need to make false claims with Thanos. Thanos quickly suppressed his excitement. As the master of the Dark Legion, he decided to invade without hearing the news. If Ancient One cheats his death, then all these years of hard work will be in vain. Outside the light curtain, Gamera lowered his head slightly to hide the emotion in his eyes. Many forces in the universe are called Thanos Mad Titan. But the fact is, Thanos is not only not crazy, but also extremely intelligent. Just like another him in the light curtain. If the army is really mobilized this time, I'm afraid it will all be handled by Thor alone. Although you have Mind Gem, just one must not be enough. Otherwise, it would not be because of Ancient One, knowing that the Space Gem and Time Gem are on the Earth, but never grabbing them. I just don't know which unlucky guy will be sent to Earth this time. It's you, Ebony Maw. You take Chitauri directly to invade. Remember, don't touch Time Gem. Your goal is only Tesseract, Thanos said in an unquestionable tone. His purpose is simple. It would be best if Kamar-Taj doesn't care about things within the reality dimension. He can retrieve the Space Gem first. If you make a move, then just see if Ancient One is really dead. As for the new Sorcerer Supreme, in his opinion, it will definitely not be bigger than Ebony Maw with psychokinesis and parasitic ability. In short, the purpose of this time is actually not to get gems, but a test. I will definitely bring back the Space Gem, Master. Ebony Maw replied confidently. Outside the light curtain, countless people showed strange eyes. Is it really good to be so confident? The magical side that Sorcerer Supreme truly guards. Add. But the Protoss protect the 9 realms from being violated. It is estimated that this Ebony Maw will die worse than the Blackheart Demon. 3 days later, several subspaceships of Holy Place 2 sailed out from the space jump. In the spaceship in stealth mode, Ebony Maw looked at the blue planet below with pity. Lost Ancient One, this is a young child holding a treasure. Even without the Dark Titans, they couldn't keep the Space Gem. However, the Earth is so big, it is not realistic to rely on them alone to search for gems. We still need to follow the plan of the Dark Titan. So, it's time for people on Earth to understand the cruelty of the universe. What is the crushing of lower civilizations by higher civilizations? Ebony Maw showed a sneer, and then the 3 huge amounts of spaceships lifted their invisibility. At the same time, a group of super signal interference invaded all satellites in Earth orbit. In an instant, all the monitors and players on the Earth that are connected to TV signals, networks, and electromagnetic bands stopped working at the same time, and there are constantly changing sounds coming from inside. Stark building. Tony She Stark kept calling JARVIS, but there was no response, as if blocked. SHIELD. The alarm 3.2 that should have sounded was silent, and there was only one identical voice in all speakers. Director's room. Nick Fury stares at the screen with a sullen face, on which a humanoid presence that is clearly an alien creature appears. At this moment, the ever-changing voice became the language of the Earth. At this moment, the whole world is echoing the same voice. Earth. Humanity. A treasure of our civilization was left on your planet many years ago. That's not something you can use, but if it gets out of control, it will destroy the entire planet. Now, you are given 72 hours to return the Rubik's Cube. We will leave you with the technology of higher cosmic civilizations and help you upgrade backward civilizations. If you refuse, then we will be your disaster. 097 I refuse. Add. As the cold voice fell, all the display screens on the Earth returned to normal in an instant, as if it was just an illusion before. SHIELD. Amidst the harsh siren, Nick Fury connected to the phone, and Tony Stark's voice came from inside. Please tell me this is filming new Star Wars, 007. Nick Fury sighs. Actually, this is already new Star Wars 2 inches, Tony. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. 1. The other end of the phone suddenly became anxious, and the voice said sharply, 2. Has his Earth been attacked by aliens before? Nick Fury looked at the 3 giant spaceships displayed on the screen, and sighed. I hope they are weaker than the Kree. I'm looking for foreign aid, Tony. That's it. After speaking, he ignored the cursing voice on the other end of the phone and hung up directly, then took out a treasured pager from his arms, and pressed it without any hesitation. Suddenly a 4-pointed star symbol appeared on it, indicating that the transmission was successful. Quill, I thought he was calling Thor. Richard, this symbol ... seems to be Captain Marvel from another universe. Tony, and who is that? Baron Mordo. It should be said that it is one of the strongest existences on the Earth, and I think it is the same for you. Nick Fury, back then, the Kree ... invaded the Earth when they were chasing the Skrulls, and wanted to take away the Tesseract, but they were finally expelled by Carol, that is, Captain Marvel. Tony, so what about her? We are now being invaded by the Chitauri army, and if it wasn't for this light curtain to suspend everything, I'm afraid New York would have been reduced to the ground. I don't think it's too late for her to come out after the light curtain ends. Natasha Romanoff, I haven't heard of this guy in SHIELD. Hawkeye, me neither. Nick Fury, actually ... well, she's not on Earth right now. Tony, why? Nick Fury, her ability is huge, so her wish is to maintain the strength of the entire universe, and she also promised the Skrulls to find a suitable planet for them to live in. It was the Skrulls who helped drive away the Kree. Natasha Romanoff, director, may I ask how long she's been gone? Nick Fury, 17 years. Tony, did she come back during the period? Nick Fury, no. Tony, what about the information? Nick Fury, neither. Tony, what about the planet promised to the Skrulls? Nick Fury, didn't see. Tony, is she dead? Nick Fury, well, probably not. Banner, I feel like Hulk is angry, but he can't get out now. Tony, what a great Captain Notre Dame. Possess strong power and can help other weak planets. So, just ignore the Earth, right? In this timeline Chitauri gave 72 hours. We are now watching Loki open the space channel and let in an entire alien army. If there is an accident, when she comes back, it is estimated that someone will collect the body. Nick Fury, this can only be called an accident. Tony, Miss Marvel of the 838 universe, you are so fraternal. Are you no longer on the Earth? Maria Rambo, definitely no. I am a member of the Illuminati, and my duty is to protect the Earth from any threat of invasion. Tony, thanks for the answer. I'm fine. Steve, the Earth is fine on our own. No space warriors are needed. Hawkeye, I don't think it's a problem. Chitauri can't stop my arrows. SHIELD. Nick Fury was sweating profusely. He's already made up for this, and Carol is still playing dead. Don't know how to respond. At least the Skrulls should be calmed down. If this continues, he feels that the rebellion is not far away. Inside the spaceship, Ronan felt very refreshed at this moment. This is Firth. The ungrateful Firth deserves to be hated by his compatriots now. History Stark Mansion. Tony's face was gloomy and terrifying. Loki was panicking at the sight. The first time he knew that human beings were angry, the breath was actually very oppressive. Or maybe this mustache is special. But he could also understand Tony's feelings. It's like the Asgard. Odin is gone. Asgard will be destroyed. Turning around, Thor expressed his righteousness to help the weak spirit of light. This kind of thing is really disgusting. SHIELD. After Nick Fury sent the booster signal, he found that he could only wait quietly. In the face of this technological crushing situation, he is not even going to find Iron Man declaring war on a space battleship of a higher civilization in space. Earth doesn't have that power. What else can the space station do besides test monkeys? At that time, the opponent will launch another star-destroying cannon, and the Earth will be gone before Carol returns. So, the best way now is to accumulate defensive strength and wait for Captain Marvel to return. If 3 days have passed and the other party has not returned, you can only use the gold coin one left by that god. It's just that it's not a last resort. He really doesn't want to use this biggest hole card. After all, in his eyes, this thing is as good as making a wish with God. Kamartaj. Magician Wang lightly knocked on the door of the holy place, and then walked into it. After walking a few steps, he turned to Thor, who was sitting cross-legged in midair with closed eyes, and said, "My lord, those alien armies are staying outside the Earth. According to what they say, they are here to snatch the space gem, and if the Earth doesn't hand over in 3 days, a war will start." Thor didn't open his eyes. While simulating dimensional magic in the spiritual world, 10 sides relaxed and distracted. Is there any action at SHIELD? After all, this kind of thing is not within the scope of Kamartaj's responsibility. The Magician King shook his head. We observed in the mirror space. Except that SHIELD is implementing defensive policies. Director Nick Fury is always very anxious talking to himself when he is alone. The meaning in the words is that I am waiting for a woman named Carol, and I hope she will come back soon. Thor nods. If that's the case, don't worry about it. Just pay attention to whether there are spies invading the Earth. Although as a Sorcerer Supreme, you don't need to care about such things. But as the Protoss, who dares to invade the 9 realms, he definitely will not allow it. But since Shield has a way, he doesn't have to act like a nanny. At this moment, King Magician nodded and quickly walked out of the hospital. With the spell of mirror image space, it doesn't make sense for this group of aliens to be clever. Every move is in the eyes of others. Ebony Maw definitely won't be foolishly waiting for the Earthlings to bring space gems. Shortly after putting pressure on him, he secretly came to Earth. Soon, he found Shield, the largest agent organization on the planet, and his power is not just psychokinesis, also a parasite. Ebony Maw is parasitic on an agent, and enters the Shield headquarters very easily. At this moment, he couldn't help sneering in his heart. Low-level civilization, invasion is too simple. But he didn't know that there was a fat man following behind him all the time, staring at him, watching his every move. Shortly after, Ebony Maw replaced a parasite and entered the host area. Then break away from the parasite, take out a slap file-size machine capable of shape-shifting and insert it into the server. Without the slightest delay, all Shield's secrets about Tesseract are projected in midair. Soon, Ebony Maw shook his head in disappointment. This shows that Tesseract was abnormally lost a few months ago, and the previous information is of no use to him. It seems that the only way to make people on Earth feel the pressure is to help him find out. Nick Fury didn't know about this scene, otherwise he would definitely appreciate Hydra. It is precisely because all kinds of top-secret information was known by Hydra at that time, so later he asked the technical department to create an independent storage device that is separate from the mainframe. That thing is only the file size of a dice, which records all the confidential information above the 10th level, and he carries it with him. Unless he is dead, Shield no longer has to worry about leaks. Ebony Maw quickly returned to the spaceship. He does not intend to abide by the agreed 72 hours. At the end of the 36th hour, he will conduct a tactical attack with no casualties, not only to increase the pressure, but also to see what Kamar-Taj's reaction is. As a smart person, how can I not understand what the end of this temptation is for? But he won't say that. Soon, 36 hours is up. Shield suddenly sounded a piercing siren, which means that the satellite detected a high response. And that comes from a spaceship in outer space. Level. I need to know the energy level this time. On the bridge of the helicarrier, Nick Fury held the gold coin in his hand and yelled at the agents below. Immediately someone quickly replied, energy level is 5, direction is locked to South Pole. This blow has a great probability that 2/3 of the ice cap will be melted, and the sea level will gradually rise by 6 meters. Fuck, Nick Fury yelled, not caring how many subordinates there are. He knows how much disaster a 6-meter sea level rise will cause in the future. Immediately he will use the wishing gold coin in his hand. But at this moment, a faint voice echoed in his ears. No need, save it for next time. Nick Fury's face suddenly showed ecstasy. He has already recognized that it is the voice of a god. At the same time, in the universe, the main ship of Ebony Maw suddenly heard a harsh siren, and then a figure was projected on the big screen. A very abrupt person who suddenly appeared in front of the spaceship. Ebony Maw felt a palpitation instantly. Did Kamar-Taj make a move? This is the Sorcerer Supreme of this generation. But E077 hasn't had time to think about how to fight. I saw the man wave his hand lightly. Just when he didn't understand what it meant, the alarm sound in the spaceship reminded that the fleet lost contact with the spaceship. His heart, feeling something, I quickly turned my head to look, and suddenly my eyes widened. Through the high-energy glass, the spaceship on the right side, at the moment, was completely swallowed by the terrifying flames. For a moment, a kind of extreme fear appeared in Ebony Maw's heart. Monster. What kind of monster is this guy? Just reach out and easily destroy a spaceship. At this moment, he suddenly saw the other party looking at him. In an instant, Ebony Maw even felt that his soul was frozen, and then fell into the dark abyss little by little. He can't even resist a little bit. At this moment, there is only one thought in his heart. Dead. I thought I could test whether I could directly conquer this planet, but it turned out that I was the ant. At this moment, he suddenly saw a dazzling brilliance from the corner of his eye, and came outside from the dark place in the blink of an eye. In space, Captain Marvel rolled with a powerful light, watched Thor use energy to open his mouth, and loudly stopped. Don't continue. They are the Dark Army of the Mad Titan. There is no need for a death feud. It is enough to destroy a spaceship and warn them, otherwise the Earth will be in greater danger. Tony, what kind of logic is this? He has already hit the door of the house and let the intruder go? Hawkeye, I can't understand. This can't make these people not hate the Earth. Quill, this woman's brain circuit is amazing. Black Bolt, fortunately, Miss Rambo, you are not like this. Outside the light curtain, Nick Fury smiled wryly. Carol hasn't changed over the years. She clearly had a chance to wipe out the Kerry fleet back then, but in the end she only destroyed one ship, and let the rest go. As a result, he spent a long time in worry. After all, if the Kree came back again, Carol, who was outside, would not be able to arrive immediately. At this time, Thor's clear and flat voice came from the deep space of the universe. I reject. Annihilate. You don't deserve this power, Carol Danvers. When this sentence has no emotion, it seems that an insignificant voice falls. Carol instantly felt a powerful wave spreading from the opponent. No. She let out a loud roar, and the tumbling pure gold energy on her body became even stronger, like a meteor hitting the opponent. Never let that hand hold it. The price for destroying these spaceships is to completely fight the Dark Legion. That mad titan will definitely raise the Earth to the ground. In these years, she has seen and heard too many times in the universe. Even an existence like the Nova Empire is unwilling to provoke this lunatic, and the Earth cannot bear such consequences. And at such a distance, she has absolute confidence to interrupt the opponent's flame control. A distance of hundreds of meters is just an instant for her. Stop. She issued a warning. She didn't intend to slow down at all, and planned to force the other party to retract the energy zone. If not, you can directly hit the opponent and interrupt it. At this moment, she really saw the other party retracting his palm. Carol was suddenly overjoyed. It worked. But in the next moment, she saw the opponent's retracted hand turned into a fist. Boom. Space cannot transmit sound. However, amidst the bursting and overflowing energy, it was as loud as a bell. Carol, who was galloping like a shooting star, was punched in front of the door in the flash of thunder. Time seems to be frozen at this moment, and the twisted face of this Captain Marvel has a look of shock, disbelief, and severe pain. The next moment, the space seemed to vibrate for a moment, and Carol shot back at a speed 10 times faster than the impact. And coincidentally, the direction is exactly the spaceship where Ebony Maw is. At this moment, she is like the hardest shell in the world, easily piercing through this giant steel beast made of high-strength alloy. The engine was smashed, and in a violent explosion, it flew out of the doctor from the other end. And Ebony Maw, without even fighting, just turned to ashes with a spaceship. Outside the light curtain, Ebony Maw shivered as he saw it. Once upon a time, he bullied others with his powerful psychokinesis. It's not like this scene. Just like a low-level miscellaneous soldier who died in the aftermath of other people's battles, he couldn't even resist. This strong psychological gap also made him finally understand. In front of the real strong, he is also an ant, rolling tens of thousands of meters in just a few seconds. Carol finally woke up from the daze. She immediately controlled her body, then suddenly burst out with violent energy, and rushed back again in great anger. But before flying halfway, I saw that the last spaceship was also engulfed by flames, and then exploded like a giant firework. It's over. At this moment, Carol felt that he had seen the Dark Army driving the giant space battleship Holy Place 2 and hundreds of spaceships in the universe to surround the Earth in a mighty manner. She can deal with Thanos, but who will deal with those 5 obsidian generals, cosmic soldiers, and the terrifying army of biochemical beasts? Earth's army is like a group of children in front of the opponent, only to be killed. At this time, she suddenly felt a cold gaze looking at her. It's the man who doesn't care about the consequences. Already thought it was a big mistake. Carol is even more angry now. She flew over quickly, stopped in front of the man, and used the scattered energy to vibrate the space to transmit the sound. Angrily said, "Do you know what you did?" Thor looks indifferently at this woman wrapped in energy similar to that contained in the space gem. Just one glance, he knew that this should be a lucky one who didn't die after being infused with Tesseract energy. "So, are you from Earth?" He looked at the woman with scrutiny and asked. Carol didn't answer, but glared and said, "Do you think you are very powerful? Then you know the owners of these spaceships." "You mean the Legion of Darkness?" Thor said calmly. Carol's voice was choked, and he said in disbelief, "Since you know that you want to destroy these spaceships, Thanos will absolutely retaliate no matter what." At this moment, she felt that the other party was also a lunatic. The result of everything needn't be so bad. It's the other party who pushed the Earth into the abyss. Thor didn't say anything, just asked again, "You are from Earth?" Carol snorted coldly, "I'm definitely an Earthling, but that's not the point." Next, Thor raised his index finger and shook it, interrupting, "No. This is definitely the point." Thor's eyes became cold. He looked at the woman indifferently and said, "You are an Earthling. Why don't you protect your own planet?" Carol frowned. He didn't expect the other party to say this question, so he folded his arms and said solemnly, "There are countless weak races being bullied in the universe, and they also need my protection. My eyes can't just be on the Earth." "Tony, this is called not only can, it is obviously abandoned. The Chitauri army is out there now. Has anyone seen her back?" "Hawkeye, he is great." "Nick Fury, actually ... it will take time for her to come back." "Tony, come back to collect the body for us?" "Don't need to explain Fury to her. I don't agree that she is from Earth, so don't come here." "Quill, although I was plundered by Yondu since I was a child, but Lao Tzu is also a person from the Earth. After that I will get you some good things from the universe to go back." "Tony, look, this is greatness." "Quill, I'd be embarrassed if you said that." "Hawkeye, it's okay bro, you're way better than our Earth Lady Carol." "Do you think you are great?" Thor's gaze became even colder. At this moment, Carol didn't feel it, or it didn't matter at all. she said in a condescending tone. You won't understand me. With this power, I have to do it. This is my responsibility. Thor didn't say anything, just asked suddenly, have you found the planet you promised the Skrulls? This is when King Magician was monitoring in the mirror space. He saw a man named Talos asking about Nick Fury. But Nick Fury's answer at the time was that he didn't know. The communicator is just a one-way transmitter. We need to wait for Carol to come back to find out. Hearing this, Carlos Ace showed a hint of embarrassment, and he said slowly, I'm still trying to find it. Some of the planets found before are inhabited by life, so it is not easy to occupy other people's homes. Quill, Rocket, well, this one doesn't seem too hard to find. Does it? Gamera, there are quite a few planets in the Centaur star field that are inhabitable, but the environment is a little more general and there are more predators. Tony, how can our great lady have the time to fly around to find planets, but also busy helping the weak? Quill, actually, it doesn't have to be that troublesome. This coordinate is sold on the black market in the void, although it may be small and expensive, but with her power, I think it is very easy to make money. Tony, so to speak, it's just that I don't care about it at all. That's right. After all, what could be more refreshing than helping a weak civilization as a savior? Outside the light curtain, Talos looked at Nick Fury with disappointment. 3 years and 3 years, almost 20 years in a blink of an eye. I didn't expect to get such an answer in the end. At this point, he doesn't see any difference between the two timelines. He looked at this comrade in arms, and this shield director said coldly, Nuo Wangs, our agreement is broken. Nick, you unilaterally cancelled it. Nick Fury smiled wryly, but couldn't say anything. In space, after hearing the other party's explanation, Thor shook his head. Seeing this, Carol immediately said, trust me, it won't be long before I can definitely find it. Thor interrupted directly, no, I mean, you don't have to look for it anymore. Carol blinks. Why? They don't need it anymore? That's great. To be honest, it's really time-consuming. I'm too busy. Life. If it wasn't for Nick Fury asking for help, she would still be helping a tribe resist the flood, which would have cost thousands of lives. After all, after the flood, civilization needs to be rebuilt. At this point Thor shakes his head again. The eyes also become colder. No, you got it wrong again, Carol Danvers. I mean, he said word by word, very clearly and with certainty, you are not worthy of this power. As the owner of Space Gem, I want to recycle it. 099 Deprivation of Power. Carol was taken aback for a moment, then sneered involuntarily, take back my power? Young people. Looks like that punch just now gave you false confidence. Only in an instant, Carol's eyes glowed with golden light, and a terrifying energy flame evaporated from his body. She looks at Thor and sneers. Didn't Nick Fury tell you how powerful I am? I advise you to. At this time, suddenly she saw flames gradually rising from the opponent's eyes, and suddenly felt an indescribable majesty emanating from it. The next second, Thor's camouflage Sorcerer Supreme clothing faded away little by little, replaced by pieces of divine armor cast by golden divine power, gradually covering his body. He sighs, interesting. It's been a long time since I've heard such a thing. Let me think about it. 600 years ago, or 800? Well, it should be that a soul eater from Hades 900 years ago also said this. Speaking, he looked at the woman whose face had completely changed color and suddenly said, do you know what his final ending is? Carol couldn't answer. At the moment, she was shocked to find that the oppression from the other party was getting stronger and stronger, which almost made her feel frightened. And what happened 900 years ago? Thor smiles slightly. He has a total of 468 lives, and I crushed him 468 times with my own hands. But don't be so nervous, human. Compared to him, I will save your life. 853. It's just that from now on, you will never have any power. As his voice fell, the entire outer space instantly lit up. Thor, wearing the golden armor covered with flowing divine power, drives the wake of thunder, and appears in front of Carol almost instantly. No spells, no element manipulation, just relying on the terrifying power of the divine body to punch out. But just such a punch made Carol's complexion change drastically. At this moment, everything in her field of vision disappeared. Only a fist covered with golden armor is rapidly expanding, and finally it seems to be bigger than a mountain, and it is crushed towards me with terrifying energy. Faintly, she caught sight of Dead Bin. She immediately understood one thing. Never be hit from the front, or you will be seriously injured. 100%! In an instant, a dazzling golden light erupted from Carol's eyes, and dazzling and powerful energy surged out of his body like a sun shining on his body. Looking at this familiar scene outside the light curtain, Ronan's eyes widened. This is a double star form? Thor just punched Carol's cards out. How can this be? Back then, he had a deep understanding of that power, and his almost invincible posture destroyed his confidence. I didn't even have the slightest thought of fighting. But now ... one hit? He knows Thor is powerful now. However, this is close combat, and it's just an ordinary move. At this time, boom. The dazzling light of the explosion instantly drowned the figures of the two, A golden ripple visible to the naked eye instantly radiated to the surroundings, and the surging energy even cut a terrible wound into the atmosphere. And the satellites in space orbit are even more appalling. All the satellites surrounding this half of the Earth, no matter whether they were swept by the golden ripples or not, all exploded into balls of flames and fell towards the Earth. For a time, humans in the entire hemisphere can see a supermeteor shower in the sky. And at a height thousands of meters above the ground, Nick Fury yelled frantically, directing the space carrier to land. He doesn't know what happened in space, but the aftermath of that god's battle is not something they can bear here. In space, Thor withdraws his arm and calmly looks at the golden figure in the distance. With super strength and the blessing of God after her metamorphosis, that woman was able to receive this punch. Not bad, do it. Nick Fury, if this Carol could hear this voice, I'm afraid he would go crazy. Richard, Captain, I remember that the power of your double star mode can reach 1,000,000 tons. Rambo, indeed. Richard, but it looks like Thor has the upper hand with this punch. Quill, damn, what a punch, he can turn me into scum. Rocket, be confident, buddy. With this punch, you won't even appear blood mist. I'm afraid you will be blasted into molecules. Secret guest, if this is in some fragile dimensions, with this punch, the space around the punch will probably collapse. Banner, this is still a normal punch. It's hard to imagine what Thor can do with all his strength if he blesses other divine powers. Drax, this is a man's man. Fighting sword, I feel like there are bugs crawling on my body. I really want to fight this Thor. Tony, not sure how many punches this great Captain Marvel can take. I wish she could last a few more minutes. Carol's face was shocked and angry at this moment, and the arm that just punched at the moment couldn't stop trembling slightly. She couldn't understand that after she used the double star mode, it turned out to be like this. At this moment, her pupils shrank suddenly, because the opponent charged over again. Thor has absolutely no intention of using spells. The distance of thousands of meters is in his eyes, but it's gone in a blink of an eye, and he punched it with no fancy punch again. Carol has no intention of avoiding it at all. The fist is like a fire burning, roaring and launching a charge. CCCF! Thus, all the northern hemisphere at night can clearly see the night sky, with terrifying golden lights constantly flashing. Everyone stared blankly at the sky, not knowing what happened there. Boom! During another violent shock, Carol was blown away with a punch. Carol's complexion was extremely bad during the inverted flight, and he felt unspeakable suffering in his heart. Because no matter how under the blessing of her will, she bursts out stronger and stronger power every time, and she can't shake the opponent even a little bit. On the contrary, I retreat again and again, arm trembling every time. It feels like the whole viscera have been dislocated, and they are moving. This moment, she had to admit the fact that she was completely suppressed by the other party. In every battle in the past, the double star mode is unrivaled. At the moment can't see the slightest bit of fishy sky. Just then, a voice of disappointment came over. Is this already your limit? You rely on this power in the universe to save the weak? Carol was so depressed that he almost vomited blood. What is this power? Even if she doesn't use the double star mode, she hasn't seen a few handshakes in so many years. I didn't know that I would encounter an extreme pervert as soon as I returned to the Earth today. But it is impossible for her to admit defeat. She is Asgardian. How could she shrink back? At this moment, Carol frantically squeezed the energy in every cell in his body, and let out a deafening roar. My will never. Boom. A dazzling thunder erupted from Thor's body, and before the traces of the bursting lightning dissipated, he had already arrived in front of the opponent. So fast. Carol's pupils trembled. If she didn't give in, she would be held back in her stomach, and she raised her double block hastily. However, this time, Thor's fist is entwined with brown energy. Earth Fire Feng Shui. The so-called manipulating the earth element is not just manipulating matter. Its properties are also controlled by Thor. In an instant, the fist that originally carried terrifying power, at this moment has the attribute of the earth attached. That apostrophe S. Heavy. Boom. The moment Carol was touched by a fist, Carol's heart was like being hit by a heavy hammer. She felt an irresistible force. The next moment, her arms were shattered and fractured instantly, her whole body bent forward. Blood mist was sprayed out of her mouth, and then a transparent wave exploded that shook the space, turning into an afterimage and flying out obliquely. A second later, a huge wave of dust hundreds of meters high suddenly rose from the surface of the moon, forming a terrifying storm and flying in all directions. S.H.I.E.L.D. Space aircraft carrier. The real-time scene of the full moon area is quickly transmitted on the big screen. There are no satellites left in space, and that was a shot taken on the ground. So everyone can see this scene. I saw a grey dot first appeared on the bright moon, and then polluted the entire moon at an extremely terrifying speed in just a dozen seconds. Who can tell me what happened? Nick Fury asked hoarsely. A few seconds later, a weak voice replied, calculation shows that an object carrying super energy hit the moon. Just when Nick Fury was trying to crack, the dust on the moon seemed to be affected by something, and retreated rapidly. A gigantic crater comparable to half the area of the moon appears on the screen. In an instant, except for the sound of the engine, the whole mothership became dead silent. Moon. Thor fell slowly, and at his feet was Carol, who kept vomiting blood in his mouth, trembling like a spasm, and fell into the gravel and couldn't get up at all. For this kind of opponent who only has strength and no other means, even fighting skills, he is completely crushing. The next second, Thor slowly lowered his head and looked down, looking at the other person's frightened and trembling eyes, and said lightly, "Don't worry, I said I won't kill you. Only, from today onwards, you are no longer worthy of having the calendar bestowed by the space gem. You will be ordinary again, Carol Danvers." 100 Time and Space Anomalies. Listening to the final judgment, Carol's eyes appeared pleading, and his lips trembled and said no silently. She has already seen that piece of sky, so how could she willingly fall to the ground? But there is no pity in Thor's eyes, only the majesty of the gods. Take away the power belonging to the 9 realms, but never perform the duty of maintaining the 9 realms. Punishment. In an instant, chains of burning flames erupted from the palm of his left hand, and then all of them fell into Carol's body. Then he held up his right hand, and the tesseract appeared, suspended above. The next second, Thor released his divine power, and immediately 99 circular magic circles revolved around the magic of the universe. They are from outside to inside. When they rotate to a certain spatial position, they make a sound like gears meshing. Until the end, all the magic circles are like a scattered and frozen sun, wrapping tesseract. At this time, 2 even bigger magic circles, 1 gold and 1 blue, appearing at Thor's feet. Instant mutation appears. Straps of golden energy were pulled out of Carol, turned into blue when passing through the chain, and finally gushed out of Thor's palm like a spring, submerging into tesseract. Magician Wang, it's amazing. I can only recognize one of them as the magic circle controlled by energy. The other combinations seem to be completely modified. Baron Modu, well, there are also assimilation circles, space circles, reversal circles, extraction circles. Here, there are also dimensional magic circles. Why? Agatha, can't you understand? As a Sorcerer Supreme, it looks like you are several levels behind Ancient One. How did you become Sorcerer Supreme? Baron Mordo, it's because the combined magic circle used by Thor is too complicated. Maybe the Ancient One can't understand it. His ability, in terms of magic, I think no one can match it except Agamotto. Agatha, is that so? Then, can Ancient One Magician explain it to you? Outside the light curtain, Agatha waited for a response. She is not interested in a Sorcerer Supreme from another universe at all. All she wants is for Tong Yi to explain Thor's magic circle. If you can learn, or understand 1 or 2, that is definitely good for your own magic. However, the chatroom Ancient One did not speak. She could only scold a stingy old woman. In her heart, the whole process lasts only a few minutes. When the last trace of golden energy emerged from Carol's body, everything fell silent. See here, Thor undoes the magic circle and takes back the tesseract, and lost all his strength. The world in Carol's eyes instantly fell into darkness. Although the body that has lost its strength is more than dozens of times weaker than before, it is still much stronger than normal people. So Carol didn't die directly. But even so, she is just a warrior who is several times stronger than normal people, and there is no other strange power. At this time, Thor's 5 fingers spread out, and a cloud of blue energy overflowed and shrouded Carol's body. He said that only depriving the space gem of its power, not killing the opponent, definitely means what it says. At the moment is to manipulate the power of the water element to heal the opponent. Tens of seconds later, Carol opened his weak eyes. The inside was dim, and there was no more brilliance. In an instant, she had a perception that the power she once had disappeared. From now on, Captain Marvel is history. Thor has no intention of talking to this woman. He waved his hand lightly, and a portal opened immediately, and the latter fell in instantly. On the bridge of the helicarrier docked at sea, Nick Fury is deciding whether to fly up or not. At this moment, a golden light flashed, followed by a plop. The voice was extremely clear in the quiet command room. Everyone looked up at Yishi. I saw a pale woman sitting on the ground with a look of disappointment on her face. At this time, a scream sounded. Carol? Nick Fury said with a look of shock. When did you come back and saw Thor beating aliens in space? Well, you may not know his name, but you can definitely tell that he is very strong. He guessed that the golden light just now should be the portal made by Thor, and he thinks that Carol should not know this. At this moment, Carol showed a wry smile and said, it's more than powerful. I've never seen anyone with such power. Nick Fury suddenly said in surprise, where are those alien troops? There is not one left. All turned to ashes. Carol said truthfully. Nick Fury was shocked by this terrifying power at first, but he was overjoyed immediately. It doesn't matter, the stronger Thor is, the happier he is. And this kind of mercilessness to the enemy also makes him very agreeable. This is the real patron saint of the earth. It's not like ... forget it, just come back. At this time, he remembered the picture on the big screen just now, and asked curiously, by the way, what happened on the moon just now? In the alien army, is there still a very powerful existence? Carol's eyes dimmed, and he smiled wryly. That's right, the 3 spaceships were all destroyed by 3 hits from the air. 3 strikes. Nick Fury couldn't help swallowing, and his heart was even more shocked. But at the same time he was even more puzzled. The craters on the moon, it looks like they were hit by super strength. Carol saw the doubts in Nick Fury's heart, thought about it and still didn't hide it. It didn't make any sense. Is there a quiet place? She asked. Nick Fury's face suddenly became serious, and he took Carol to his office. As soon as he entered the door, he heard the other party smile bitterly. Actually, that crater was created by me. I was almost punched to death by him. 10 minutes later, Nick Fury learned about the group process. At the moment, he looked at Carol again, with some regret, but at the same time, he felt in his heart that this was the result of the other party's disregard for the Earth for so many years. This is divine punishment. As for being lost, or feeling that SHIELD has lost a whole guard. Then he didn't think so. Not to mention that Carol has been away for decades and never comes back every day. Civilization is now threatened by such a crisis. It is obvious that this god will not allow this to happen. However, as a friend, Nick Fury still said, "Next, you stay in SHIELD. I will let Captain Rogers guide you to get familiar with it. I don't think you are used to ordinary life." Carol nods. "Although I have lost my strength, my body is still considered a powerful fighter." Just then, there was a knock on the door. Before Nick Fury could say anything, the door was pushed open. "It is Talos who comes in." Nick Fury's heart tightened suddenly, and then he pretended to be dead in silence. The next second, Talos directly changed back to his original appearance, looked at Carol and said, "Captain Danvers, have we found our planet yet?" Carol was in the room for a while. His face was tangled and he didn't know how to answer. Asking for flowers. Perhaps she could have said wait before, but now ... These words can no longer be said. "I understand." Talos glanced at the other party coldly, then looked at Nick Fury and said, "You don't have to feel guilty, Fury. This is not something you can do." Nick Fury looked ashamed and said in a low voice, "Perhaps, I can apply to Congress for a piece of land for you." Talos sneers. "Stop joking. As the head of SHIELD, you should know more about how the Angza people got this land than I do, and you also know what the group of politicians look like. Don't mention such stupid things again. From now on, we, the Skrulls, will officially cancel the previous agreement and will no longer perform any settlements for you." Nick Fury immediately said, "Don't be impulsive, Talos. Messing around on Earth will only lead to worse consequences." Although he is reluctant to part with these natural spies, he still doesn't want to start a new war with them. In particular, he already regards Talos as a true friend. Hearing this, Talos laughed and said, "What are you thinking, Fury? Do I look stupid? You think I will fight the Earth? Isn't it clear what happened to those alien troops today? Then what do you want?" Nick Fury thought of something, uncertain. Talos nods. He glanced at Carol unabashedly, then looked at Nick Fury and said, "Since you can't give us what we want, we will replace it with a real strong person. That god. I hope he can also be kind to my people. I'm willing to give everything for this." Nick Fury didn't say any more words to stay. He couldn't say it because it was too shameless. Now, he only hopes that this friend can get what he wants. New York, the holy place. Thor stands in the middle of the stairs in the hall, and 2 green figures, a man and a woman, bow their heads and half kneel on the ground below. He wasn't surprised that the group of Skrulls left SHIELD, but he didn't expect the other party to find him, and directly explained the purpose of coming, wanting to exchange loyalty for a place to live. Asgard is not a feudal land, and it also has connections with the universe beyond the 9 realms. So, Thor knows what this group of Skrulls can do. After thinking about it, he chose to agree. Although it is said that there is no need for the other party to do anything now, it may not be the case in the future. Also, in his capacity, it is too easy to find a random place in the 9 realms. Even if this group of people behaves well, it is not a bad idea to let the dwarfs transform a satellite for them to live alone. Below, Talos, who has been very anxious since entering the door, almost cried with joy after hearing the definite answer. He waited for this day for too long. He never thought that he finally found a home for the Skrulls here. At this moment, he swears in his heart, as long as Thor doesn't deceive them, all Skrull warriors will fight for this god. Thor looked calm, and wanted to say something, but at this moment, he suddenly frowned. The next second he turned his head to look at the void, and his sight has already reached the holy place inside the 2nd floor. At the moment, 4 rippling ripple points appeared on the barrier of the Earth model. Dimension invasion. Thor only had a perception for a second, and then his face sank. No, it's time and space invasion. Mouth. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this and join my Patreon if you want to support me. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.